So with Crystal Palace's place in the Europa League still in limbo, the man at the centre of the storm, John Textor, has given his side of the story live on talkSPORT. He and Palace owner Steve Parish have been criticised for not addressing multi-club ownership rules before UEFA's March the 1st deadline. Textor told us the exact moment when he realised Palace's place in Europe might become an issue.
Holding the cup next to the Prince. Yeah, it was a great moment. And I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't have been happier for the fans. But yeah, I was worried about what was coming.
But he's clear about one thing. He does not believe a breach has even taken place.
I'll admit to not even thinking about the issue. Of course, I have to. But I also read the rule. So please read the rule yourself. Like, everybody's talking about it like it's so obvious. The rule's very clear. If you have decisive influence, you may need to consider this. I don't. I didn't. If I had decisive influence, I wouldn't have been trying to sell the club starting in June of 2024.
No decisive influence. So in his mind, Palace should be allowed in the competition. Simon Jordan probably speaks for most football fans seeing this case unfold.
This is stupid governance from UEFA. Palace should be in the Europa League. His financial contribution enabled Palace to sail through choppy waters. And I don't think it's right, whether he's here or not, and people think I'm being sycophantic, that he catches all the crap that's going. Because I do think other people are part of the structure of that football club that creates a problem. And UEFA should be doing what they should be doing, which is allowing Palace to play in this competition.
Now, Textor did reveal he initially wanted to buy a majority stake in Crystal Palace, but settled for 43% so he could help the club in the transfer window. So we asked him what he makes of the main man at the club, Steve Parish.
No, I think his ambition every year is to avoid relegation. Our ambition is to climb the table. Who thought we could go from bankruptcy to winning South America in 2.5 years down there? I mean, that was crazy.
We're expected to find out by the end of the week whether Palace will be allowed to compete in the Europa League. Elsewhere, Owen Farrell's been named on the bench for the Lions' final warm-up game against Australia and New Zealand combined 15 on Saturday. Remember, you can listen to that one live and exclusively on talkSPORT.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Charlie Baker with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT. Where this afternoon, Charlie, as always, please tell us in your own time what's coming.
Coming up over the next 3 hours, Palace fan Kevin Day reacts to what White and Jordan John Textor interview. Yeah. We'll ask a seasoned Sunderland watcher how they're shaping up ahead of the Premier League return. And comedian and England fan Annie McGrath looks back on a great night for the Lionesses.
We'll also wonder where you fell asleep, plus your quirky lodgers. And just how embarrassing was it last night for the mighty Real Madrid?
Yes, all this plus we'll keep you updated with events at Lords and Wimbledon. Test the strength of today's transfer rumours.
Yeah.
And can my winning streak... Well, my 3 in a row, Paul? The 3-peat?
3 in a row.
It happened.
Yeah.
Can it continue in the birthday spread?
We'll find out a little bit later on. It is 5 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Charlie.
Afternoon, Paul. The Lionesses were sensational.
They were very good last night.
Absolutely sensational.
They turned up, I think it's fair to say.
They did. I don't know if you read any of the comments of the Netherlands coach. He was very rude about Wales.
Was he?
Before and after the first game.
Yeah.
And then he was very rude, quite rude about, I'm going to say arrogant, Paul. He sounded arrogant, which in football is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But pre-match last night, and he took a stuffing, didn't he? Absolute stuffing.
Yeah.
They were brilliant. Lauren James, she's different class.
She's very good. She strikes the ball well.
I'm surprised that Netherlands didn't play Miedema. Oh, they did. She was just very, very quiet.
Well, now who's being nasty, Charlie?
But they were fantastic, and I take it all back when I said they're going to crash out.
There's a lot of people taking it all back.
I take it all back. They are going to crash out. They've got nothing.
It comes from a good place. I think, people get frustrated because you know what the team are capable of because we've all seen it.
Yeah.
And then when they don't show up, that can happen in sport, of course. But, well, it's good news.
Maybe losing was the best thing that could have happened. It gave them that jolt, made them go, look, it's not going to be easy. We've all got to come together. So,
could be.
Very good.
Very, very
well
enjoyable.
done. Congratulations.
I went double football last night, finished that, and then went, I'm glad I did, of course, the PSG Masterclass.
Oh, yeah.
Against Real Madrid.
Spurs in a few weeks, Paul.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting,
We're on our little Tottenham WhatsApp group with all of us sit together, and I'm saying, yeah, we can definitely do this lot. They won't fancy, they won't fancy playing us. There was one moment, it's just that when that thing between the very top level of world football and Sunday morning park football.
Yeah.
There was a little passage of play, and it was all one touch. It was like doing a rondo. And they were 3-0 up at this point, and they're just pinging it around one touch.
Olaying it.
And it gets to Hakimi, and Chouameni can't take it anymore, goes right through the back of him. An old teammate.
And points at him.
Right through the... But he could have easily have stood over him and said, don't take the P, mate. Don't shoot, and I'll see you in the car park.
Very nice.
You're taking the... Mate.
Yes.
But it was effectively that, wasn't it? So sometimes what they do at the top level can easily be...
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. You don't want that.
It was a beauty,
No,
but they were. They were ridiculous.
They're really good, Paul.
They were gifted 2 goals by a bit of pub defending.
They're really good. They're really young. They're going to dominate the French game for the next 5 years. They might dominate the European game for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Because they're so young. They're such a young squad.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Andy was watching it.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to playing Chelsea. When is it?
Yeah.
Saturday night? Is it Saturday night?
Sunday night.
Sunday night.
I did say to him at half time, I said, that was brutal. So he said, yes, him and his son, Dan, were joking about what formation to use. He said, I'm going to go 9 at the back with 1 up front and 2 keepers. He said, we're going to fly in Sean Dyche as a special advisor for the final.
Lump it forward.
I did make the point to him, they look so fresh too. They look like they've not played it. They've had 6 weeks
Paul.
off
They're
in the
15.
sun.
They're all 15 years old.
That's not strictly
more
true.
or less.
Yeah, no.
You know what it's like. You can run forever when you're 15.
It was
fruit shoot at half time. They'll be there right up on it.
That's it. Big bag of sweets as they leave.
Off
leave
they go.
the party.
You Haribos.
So, where did you fall asleep? This is off the back of Hugh Grant.
Yes.
We went to Wimbledon yesterday and had a little kip, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he fell asleep.
Quite a Hugh Grant thing to do, I think.
Do you think so?
Go to Wimbledon. B, look very smart, very dashing. Always looks good. Always looks well turned out, doesn't he?
Yeah, there he is, little picture of him there.
Yeah.
He's had a little doze. I mean, he actually, to be fair, he could be looking at his phone, or is he definitely asleep?
I think he's definitely asleep, Paul.
Yeah.
And also, he's a Fulham fan as well, so think of the rubbish he's had to watch over the years.
Oh.
And he's still falling asleep at Wimbledon. Post-lunch, though, Paul.
Yeah.
I'm good for nothing if I've had a couple of glasses of wine.
A couple of glasses
of wine in a big lunch. That's it. I'm good for nothing.
Where did you, on the centre court with all the noise and everything going on and the shouting and the screaming, you expect to be quite difficult to fall asleep. But where did you fall asleep? There's quite a difficult place to fall asleep. We're interested to hear from you, sporting or otherwise, this afternoon. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089 or tweet to TSH&J, that's TSHANDJ, or 03717 223344 if you want to get in touch this afternoon. As I was saying to Lisa O'Sullivan yesterday, the Daily Telegraph are coming up quite a lot of Wimbledon-related features at the moment.
Yeah.
And today they turn to the people that rent out their houses to players or people want to stay in the area.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes, obviously, for the big stars, they rent out the whole house so the whole backroom team can stay there.
Yeah.
But for some of the players, sort of qualifiers and whatever,
they're Airbnb-ing it, Paul, aren't they?
Well, they're staying in these people's houses, but they'll take a room in their house.
Yeah. Okay.
And a few of them were telling people who've been doing it for years, telling some war stories about it today. And there's some lovely stories of players that have kind of got very close to the families and go back every year and
they might have a lucky room.
Well, look, every time that they used to get a ticket for one of the people that own the house, and every time they went, this player won, so that she'd get passes every year
great,
because she was a good luck charm. The flip side of that was one of the people said the people that restring the rackets, they're the worst. They're like rock. It's like Led Zeppelin on the road.
All right.
Like Sabbath on tour.
They're like the caddies.
Well,
It's like
they were having all
like
late
the
night
caddies
parties.
turning up. Yeah,
I suppose
yeah.
if you spend all day just kind of handful of catgut or whatever they use these days.
Handful of cat guys. Is that your new album?
It is. We got a handful of catgut to sing you. So so I suppose in the evening you want to. That'd be the phone.
There we are, your phone. Yeah. In the evening, they're fed up of restringing to a certain tension. They have to release the tension.
They have to
Paul.
release the tension. That's what it is.
It's what you're saying, isn't it?
But anyway, one of the other stories was one player who wasn't a big name, stayed in one of the houses, went out in the first round on the first day.
Oh yeah.
Went out to drown their sorrows in town afterwards. Came back, having lost the key, so I was hammering on the door to get in at like sort of 2 a.m, battered.
Yeah.
Then went to bed and promptly wet the bed.
Oh, yes.
So they had to change the mattress and every key in the house because they didn't know where it had been lost. So 8 keys.
8 keys.
8 locks.
Oh, no.
And
new sheets.
And a new mattress.
New balls, please.
They said the mattress was ruined. So maybe you've had some quite quirky lodgers along the way.
Oh, yeah.
If you've got a few war stories of your own, sporting or otherwise, who knows? But anyway, talksport.com/H&J.
Tom in Brighton's been in touch. I once fell asleep at a medieval reenactment festival.
Well, that takes some doing.
Cannon fire and everything. That's fun. Well done, Tom.
Yeah.
The Chemical Brothers at Glastonbury 2019. George in Wolverhampton fell asleep during the Chemical Brothers.
Yeah.
Very good.
18th hole at the Belfry during the 2000 B&H Open. The Michelob tent was giving away freebies, and by 2 p.m. it was time for a nap.
That's the thing. Nice. But I expect it's not comfy round there in the rough.
Jack, the Chelsea fan, says, after a night out with a mate, I tripped over outside my front gate and was that far gone. I thought, well, this is quite comfortable. I'll stay here.
Oh, yeah.
My sons, when he was at university, one of the boys who lived in their house, they came out one day and they heard a bit of rustling in the bush. That was a dog or a cat. And it was their flatmate.
Oh, that's nice.
So he'd come in, thought, oh, blimey, I forgot my keys. So just slept in the bush out the front of the house, under the bush, and had his keys in his pocket all the time.
Oh, no.
The drink's a terrible thing.
It is indeed. I took a girlfriend to a Quo concert at the old Hammersmith Odeon.
Wow.
She fell asleep halfway through. That's Keith. Keith sounds like the sort of person who'd go to a Quo concert.
They were,
in Sussex. I reckon there's a lot of Keiths that stay as Quo concerts.
I've seen Quo at Hammersmith and they were loud. Not as loud as Motorhead, but there we are. Talksport.com, text 1889, tweet TSH and J. If you want to get in touch this afternoon, those places where you managed to fall asleep, like Hugh Grant at Wimbledon, and some of those quirky lodgers, you might want to share those with the class as well. So, what's coming up today? Well, we're going to be chatting in the first instance to Paul Newman of a cricket journalist and Spurs fan. We may touch on the Kudus signing while we've got him. It's lunch at Lord's, and we'll get his take on the morning's play. Then we're going to be talking to Annie McGrath, who is a comedian, Arsenal and England fan, reflecting on that Lionesses' victory last night. And we'll be joined also by Terry Gibson, Spanish football expert, former Manchester United, Wimbledon, Spurs, Coventry frontman. And we'll be looking at last night from a Real Madrid point of view. It did feel very changing of the guard. Felt quite a big moment.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew it's not like a shock PSG are good, but just
a Euro for Mbappe's thoughts.
Just to grind them into the dirt. I mean, it wasn't a good day. The story about Ancelotti being the new Noel Coward in the Italian job.
Exactly that.
See, Mr. Ancelotti. Imagine that.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
Get your slippers out of the fridge, Mr. Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Mr. Bridger, yeah. So we'll do all of that. We'll be in the Lions camp where, at 15, fullback, few issues and call-ups and all sorts of things going on. At the moment, we'll have the latest from the camp at that troublesome fullback area. Zane Scotland, I think the youngest man ever to qualify for the Open at 16. He's going to join us for a chat. We've got Scottish Open underway, and indeed the Open next week. Owen Trout of Lee Leopards. Lee Leopards going very well at the moment. Off the back of a big win against Wigan. He's just been in the England squad as well. Got that England call-up for that get-together. So life is good for Owen. We'll chat to him. And Frankie Francis talks Sunderland. We'll have a birthday spread, lots of updates from Wimbledon and Lords, and we'll head to Lords next chat to cricket writer Paul Newman, and reflect on the morning's play. We're here with our very good friends at Toolstation, delivering as little as 30 minutes with Fast Track. Next up, Toolstation.
He plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee and Charlie Baker here on talkSPORT. It's lunch at Lord's, day one of the third test. England are 83-2. There were ironic cheers when Ben Stokes won the toss and decided to have a bat.
Yeah.
And then Shubman Gill said, "Oh, we would have had a bowl if we won it."
Yeah,
which was
I'd
quite
say that.
interesting.
When you say that, I don't
have him in the S House category at the moment. Maybe Paul Newman, cricket writer and fellow Spurs fan, agrees. Hiya, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Charlie. How you doing?
Yeah, good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. What did you make of that Shubman Gill saying, "Oh, yeah, we would have had a bowl"?
Oh, I think he meant it. I think he would have bowled in the first 2 tests as well. Actually, I might be. And Stokes made a mistake. I think he should have bowled. All the recent history.
Wow,
It's a bowling pitch, but I think he's got it into his head that he got it wrong in the first 2 tests, certainly last week. So I think he felt under pressure to bat today. But judging by the movement India have got in this first morning, I think Gill was absolutely right in wanting to bowl, to be honest.
I mean, there was a bit of plan missing, and they rode their luck at times. But then you thought they may have, they got through that sort of first 12 or whatever overs, and you thought, they might be all right now. And then a couple of wickets went tumbling.
Yeah, to Reddy of all people, very much an occasional bowler really in this Indian attack, but he the ball he got Zach, absolute cracker, and it seems as though there's been more swing since the lacquer came off the ball, which is something we see more and more of these days. It's not necessarily. No, the Ben Duckett one was unlucky. It was basically a long hop down the leg side that he's just got a feather on it, tried to pull it. The ball that just after drinks that got Zach beauty, but it's been hard work out there for England batsmen, no question, and I think they've done well really to get to lunch with only two wickets.
Yeah, Bumrah missed Edgbaston, but they always said he was only going to play 3 of the tests, and I can imagine he was always going to play at Lord's. How has he looked?
He's looked terrific, Charlie. He's a world-class bowler, isn't he? Best in the world. And I thought they'd made a big mistake in not playing him at Edgbaston. I thought, even if he can only play 3 in this series, they were 1 down. They arrived in Birmingham in something of a state of chaos, really, it seemed. But how they were justified in saving him for Lords. I mean, the suggestion was he didn't want to play at Edgbaston really because he's desperate to get his name on the honours board here at Lords. It's such an honour for every overseas cricketer to play a Test match here, and I think that remains the case today. So the suggestion was he didn't want to play at Edgbaston, he wanted to save himself for here, but whoever's decision it was absolutely justified because Akashdeep came in and bowled superbly, as we know, and India won the game and they're 1-1 and they've got their best bowler back fresh, and he's looked terrific this morning, and India's attack has looked very dangerous. This is a big test for England, and the whole Bazball project really. This series and the series in Australia this winter will define it, and at the moment you've got to say that India are on top.
Zach Crawley needed runs and didn't get them, really. What did you make of his shot, his dismissal, Paul?
He looked scrambled, Paul. He was batting in a bizarre fashion, really. He was back on the crease, he was deep in the crease, then he was charging down the wicket. He started taking his guard outside off stump, which is something he didn't do at Headingley when he played really well in that first test. He seems to have gone back to a guard outside off stump to try and I'm not sure what he's trying to do, to be honest. I've asked a few people who know a lot more about batting than me, and they don't seem to know what he's doing either. And it's a unique situation, really, isn't it? Because this is a guy that they're determined to keep faith with. I mean, everybody will tell you he is certain to open the batting in Perth in the first test in the Ashes in November, whatever happens. But that must bring internal pressure, even if there's no pressure on his place from the people that matter. There must be internal pressure on him because he's just not delivering the runs, and we all go back to that fantastic innings he played at Old Trafford in the last Ashes against Australia, and that's the innings they're basing their judgment on, really, and the fact that they want to back this guy so heavily because he can do that to Australia, and they want him to do that to Australia this winter when there's a bit of bounce in the pitches which they think will suit him. But it's really a sort of test of England's faith now that if this carries on. He did look good at Headingley, and it looked as if he'd cracked it at last, but now he's taken a couple of steps back again at Edgbaston, and here this morning. It was a beauty that got him this morning from Reddy, but to be honest, he could have been out several times before then.
I mean, you say he looks scrambled, and sometimes it's better to take someone out the firing line and let them regroup, but that's not the way this management team works, is it?
It's not, no. There's no signs that they're going to do that, to be honest. They want to get as many tests in him as possible before Australia, I think. But there will be pressure if they did go on to lose this game and he fouls again in the second innings. There will be pressure on them. But as it stands, they've not been bothered about that, really, this hierarchy. And fair play to them. I've got a lot of time for what England have done over the last 2 or 3 years. I think most of it has been absolutely terrific. And I've always seen their logic in this one. But it is getting to the stage where it's unique backing, really. It's certainly a contrast to the old days when you'd be dropped after two failures, but it's good to see a team backing someone properly they believe in. But with Zach, it's now getting to the stage where I'm not sure we've ever seen anything like it in Test cricket, really.
Finally, Paul, on the Spurs front, what do you make of the Kudus deal?
Well, I'm not sure, Paul. I'm not sure. When he got sent off against us last year, he looked very temperamental, didn't he? He had that great first season, didn't he? But he wasn't so good last season. Okay, it was in a poor West Ham side, but I'm not sure. He looks like a cheaper version of Eze to me. Eze was the one I wanted. I'm not sure about you, but I don't know. I'm still reeling over Ange being sacked, to be honest. I still haven't got over that. So it's getting to the stage where, you know, it's like this with us every summer, isn't it? You know, for goodness sake, Levy, just do the deal, just give them the money and get someone in the door, you know. So I'm hoping, I'm looking on the bright side and hoping he just recreates that form when he first arrived from Ajax, because well, you know better than me, Charlie, he was very good in that first season, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, he was excellent.
Yeah,
he was really, really
good.
good. So we'll see. I mean, I think in that, when he got sent off against Spurs last year, he was pretty frustrated with everything that was going on. They were getting a bit of a shoeing and he lost his rag. I suppose that. Yeah. I mean, we've got Christian Romero, Paul. We can't talk, can we? Really?
No.
Well, we have at the moment, anyway.
Well, yeah. What a performance in the final, though. Romero was an absolute masterclass, wasn't it? I do hope he stays.
Enjoy the afternoon session. All the best. Thanks very much, Paul.
Cheers, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Charlie.
Paul Newman there, cricket writer at Lord's. If you're overseas, you can watch and listen to this Test match unfold at the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. Our top team are bringing you it. So that's for overseas listeners and viewers only.
Very nice.
So go and check that out.
Yeah, very good.
And we'll be back with Sam Allard. They'll be back out in around 10 or so minutes' time, and we'll be right across that with regular updates, as we will from Wimbledon.
Yes.
Of course.
The semi-finals today.
Singles get underway a little bit later on.
Yeah.
So I think we'll go to Lisa a little bit later.
Okay.
I'm going to go to Lisa now. We'll do it later.
Oh, very nice.
It's mainly doubles at the moment. Does she get involved in doubles?
I don't know. I mean, doubles is always sort of... I mean, it's a great game to play doubles, not so great to watch.
I don't know, a good doubles match when you get a bit...
It always feels a bit sort of like a...
No.
Like they're playing about a bit.
Okay, fair enough.
Like they're messing about a bit.
Where did you fall asleep?
There we are. Leon, the Liverpool fan. I used to work in the film industry and gained the nickname Martini, as I could literally sleep any time, any place, anywhere. I once did 3 day shoots, 2 night shoots together. Luckily, the day shoot was as a wounded soldier in a hospital bed for a World War I drama.
Nice.
But I ruined a few shots by snoring too loudly.
Yeah.
Director was livid. Couldn't tell who it was. There we are, well done, Leon.
That must be bad when you're in some sort of police crime drama and you're supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever did that.
It, you know.
Thank you very much for those. Where did you manage to fall asleep like Hugh Grant at Wimbledon? And what about some of your quirky lodgers? Again, there was a big piece in today's Telegraph about people who rent out rooms or indeed their whole houses. And there was a few war stories from those people that have done that. So your quirky lodger tales, talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TS8 and J, 03717 223344. We'll get the news headlines for you next.
So with Crystal Palace's place in the Europa League still in limbo, the man at the centre of the storm, John Textor, has given his side of the story live on talkSPORT. He and Palace owner Steve Parris have been criticised for not addressing multi-club ownership rules before UEFA's March the 1st deadline. Textor told us the exact moment when he realised Palace's place in Europe might become an issue.
Holding the cup next to the Prince. Yeah, it was a great, great moment. I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't have been happier for the fans. But yeah, I was worried about what was coming.
But he's clear about one thing. He does not believe a breach has even taken place.
I'll admit to not even thinking about the issue. Of course, I have to. But I also read the rule. So please read the rule yourself. Like, everybody's talking about it like it's so obvious. The rule's very clear. If you have decisive influence, you may need to consider this. I don't. I didn't.
No decisive influence. So in his mind, Palace should be allowed in the competition. Simon Jordan probably speaks for most football fans seeing this case unfold.
This is stupid governance from UEFA. Palace should be in the Europa League. His financial contribution enabled Palace to sail through choppy waters. And I don't think it's right, whether he's here or not, and people think I'm being sycophantic, that he catches all the crap that's going. Because I do think other people are part of the structure of that football club that creates a problem. And UEFA should be doing what they should be doing, which is allowing Palace to play in this competition.
We're expected to find out by the end of the week whether Palace will be allowed to compete in the Europa League.
The message to the Lionesses is simple. Just win.
Do they have what it takes to keep their hopes alive?
And then, you know, you have to win this game to stay in the competition, and we have not been in this situation before.
James on the edge of the area onto the left foot. Oh, yes! That's a majestic goal from England's Lauren James.
Love the celebration. Looking at the fans, hands on hips. Here we are.
It's all today, so they wanted to bring that energy, and when you do get together and things work.
Towards Russo on the edge of the D, and then the snapshot is in for two. Some bullets into the back of the net from Georgia Stanway. Boone hits it left-footed, blocked. James steers it in. England have a third, and that'll surely do it.
It's always nice to get on the score sheet as well. I mean, I think I could have had two, but I'll let LJ have it instead.
Two left-footed shots. It's four. What a performance from England!
It has been a joy to watch. Thoroughly deserved this, and like we said, 4-0. It could have been 8 or 9-0.
In Serena, we trust.
This was, as what the players said, the proper England.
Yes, a fine
banger,
win.
Paul. It was a banger.
Absolute corking performance in the end. Totally dominant. And they go into the Wales game.
It felt like a step forward for this version of Serena Wiegmann's England. That's
Indeed.
what it felt like to me.
Let's get the thoughts of a comedian, Arsenal and England fan, Annie McGrath. Good afternoon, Annie.
Great. Annie, hello, Annie.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Was you a bit nervous going? I think we all were, weren't we? After what happened at the weekend, you thought, is this the end? Is the end of a beautiful era of England women's football? But they bounced back brilliantly last night, didn't they?
Yeah, I did. I have to say, I had a real sense of foreboding. I was texting my friends saying, I feel like I'm walking to my death. I'd love to say I was never in doubt, but I was a bit in doubt. I thought against France, we looked kind of defensively quite weak. And I wanted to believe, but I have to say, I didn't believe. And they absolutely smashed it. I still feel quite giddy. Absolute screamer from Lauren James to start the game, and then even at that point, I was like, it's not enough. We need another one before half time. We need to kill the game. And thankfully, they kept coming. It was an unreal performance. And yeah, it's just, it gives us a lot of hope, I think, going into, well, we've got Wales next, obviously, but I feel more hopeful about that. No disrespect to our neighbours.
No, it felt like the big players stepped up. It felt like Lauren James was different class.
Russo was great last night.
Best player on the pitch. Russo could have had a hat-trick first half. Carter in central defence was fantastic being moved there. I don't know if she asked to be moved there or if Serena Wiegman just that was her plan. That was the call. But just fantastic.
Yeah, it definitely worked a lot better with Greenwood at left back and Carter at centre back. So yeah, in Serena we trust.
Yeah. I mean,
she did say, didn't she, after the game, the scrutiny wasn't particularly pleasant. But if you play like that in the first game and you are the reigning champions, you kind of got to expect that, haven't you?
Absolutely. But I think it just demonstrates that we can cope so well under pressure. Because I mean, it was ours to lose last night, but we didn't seem shaken by it at all. Like Lauren James was just so confident on the ball, the way she sort of dribbled through players, and she's not even back to full fitness, but she's absolutely elite. And yeah, I think it gives us real confidence going into the next stage, hopefully.
And Hannah Hampton did really well. I think she had a couple of decent games. She was busy in the France games, and wasn't that much she could do about the goals. And there was a lot of eyes on her because of Mary Earps, and so I think she's done really well.
Yeah, that ball to Russo, which set up James's goal, was just incredible. And she's so good under pressure. And as you say, like with the narrative surrounding Mary Earps, I think there's more eyes on Hampton than there would have been otherwise. But she's really demonstrated that she's up to it.
Well, the narrative around all the players that pulled out for different reasons or weren't selected. What I think probably affected that first game, if I'm honest. But I think that was losing that game like that probably drew a line under that and said, right, we either all step forward together or we all go home. So I think that's what we saw last night.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I feel like I've slightly jinxed it in that I got tickets for the quarterfinals, which is the quarterfinals that is the winner of Group D. So before the tournament, I arrogantly was like, well, that's going to be England. Yesterday I thought England could be out and I could just be watching France, Germany.
Yeah, but Switzerland's nice. You'll enjoy yourself in Zurich.
Switzerland's nice. I'm very cheap here, so that's good as well.
And you can watch Germany v France or Germany v Holland.
Yeah, lovely.
Instead.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, perfect. I was thinking yesterday, I was like, I'm more Irish anyway, so
so who else? I mean, Spain have looked pretty ominous, haven't they? They have looked very, very good so far.
Spain look incredible. So many attacking players, and I have to say I put a bet on them before the tournament. Terrible odds, but I do think, they look like champions.
Yeah, and we can't play them in the final, can we? Not if we win our group and it goes. I think it'll be a semi-final.
Oh, would it be?
We'll have to from in the semi-final if we
might do that.
The PSG of women's football.
We played last night.
One game at a time. We've got to beat Wales first.
Yeah.
Although your team Arsenal beat Barcelona, a very Barcelona-heavy team, that Spanish side. So there are ways of doing it, aren't there?
Exactly.
So next up Wales, as we said, and the trouble is sometimes in a domestic. We saw that in the men's. Remember when the men played Wales, England played Wales. It's kind of a bit of a domestic dust up. You can get
dragged into it, can't you? Yeah.
You're going to have to be careful, England, going into that, I think.
Yeah, we can't get too complacent, but I mean Wales are out, so I guess that they've got less to play for than what we have. But it's tournament football; anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think. Well, yeah.
And what are you up to, sort of business-wise at the moment, comedy-wise at the moment?
So I'm gigging tonight. I've got a work in progress show in Oxford at Trinity Beer Hall. Should have looked up the name of the venue. I think it's called Trinity.
Google Trinity Oxford Annie McGrath and you'll find.
I think you'll find quite a lot of Trinities in Oxford.
Yeah, there might be a few Trinities.
You might end up having double maths this evening.
Yeah,
find it with a degree.
I'll have to look up the venue before I get there. So it starts at 7:30. That, as you know.
Okay.
Good start. And is this a new show for Edinburgh or a tour or something, Annie?
Yeah, I'm working up a new show. I'm not doing Edinburgh this year, but I'm keeping my keeping my toe in the game.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, enjoy Switzerland. Hopefully you'll see England. Thanks, Annie. Thanks a lot.
Cheers,
Thank
Annie.
you so much. Speak soon. Bye.
Take care. It's Annie McGrath there, comedian, Arsenal, England fan.
She's Egg United as well, Paul. In Alex Horn's
in your team, yeah?
Alex Horn's football match once a year. She's Egg United, star striker. She plays in the wing.
Okay.
Very nippy, and she plays as well. She plays Sunday League. She's a very good striker.
Oh, well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, talkSPORT will have live coverage of England versus Wales on Sunday in the final group game for both sides. In the most recent episode of the Women's Football Show podcast, Leanne Sanderson was joined by Uma Gurev and Rhiann Skinner to discuss both games and round up all the other action from the second round of group games. That's the Women's Football Show, available wherever you get your podcasts. So they are back out. We'll catch up with Sam Allard very shortly. Back out for the afternoon session. 83 for 2, just about to get underway. And
Sabalenka and Anisimova, they've started at Wimbledon. It's going with serve at the moment. So,
do we want to check in with Lisa? So that game has got underway. Singles are underway this afternoon in the women's semi-finals. Good afternoon, Lisa O'Sullivan.
Good afternoon, and we've got glorious sunshine on centre court and the whites are all aglow. And while we've got two players that have been tipped as favourites, all four of our semi-finalists today are contenders to be the next new name on the Venus Rosewater dish. So first up and underway, world number one, Aryna Sabalenka, chasing her fourth Grand Slam final in a row. A win today would be her third Grand Slam final this year.
I didn't know the mic was on, Lisa. I'm just it's all smoke.
We've had no internet.
We've had no internet. Now the internet's back, Lisa. So we're celebrating, obviously. Oh, sorry, Lisa.
I thought it was word association.
Oh, right.
So it's going to net, tennis, umpire, net. Anyway, yeah. If she manages to win today, she'll be the first woman to make 3 Grand Slam finals in a calendar year, since Angelique Kerber and Serena Williams in 2016. Amanda Anisimova, though, has won 5 of their previous 8 meetings. And the American back at the top, she stepped away from the sport after being absolutely sideswiped by grief. And at 23, she's into a second Grand Slam final. It's her first in 6 years. So, as you rightly said, Charlie, it is right on serve at the beginning of this match. 1 game all in the first set.
I saw her play at Queen's, actually, and she was absolutely fantastic.
Very good.
She's got big, heavy-hitting shots like Sabalenka, so it could be a really big battle.
Good stuff. And Alfie Hewitt going well in the wheelchair tennis, I see. So he's on course to retain the title.
Yeah, he is, and they were both in the Royal Box, him and Gordon Reid, earlier in the week, looking really fit, actually, really sharp. And it's interesting because in the men's wheelchair doubles, the Japanese player that's come through, whose name's completely gone off the top of my head at the moment, young 17-year-old, she's probably 18 now, is absolutely outstanding. Kind of Alfie has kind of had to reset because he was dominating, and all of a sudden as is often the way, there's a young gun coming for him. But Alfie and Gordon Reid also doing well in the doubles. They were on court a minute ago and the score has disappeared, but they are looking to win I think it'll be their 8th Wimbledon title as doubles as well. And the wheelchair doubles is just absolutely magnificent. Anyone of the 40,000 people that come every day to Wimbledon, if you don't get a chance to go and watch the wheelchair doubles or the wheelchair competition, you really should, because it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant tennis.
Back to you later, Lisa. Thanks very much.
Lisa.
Cheers.
Lisa O'Sullivan there at Wimbledon. We're going to talk Real Madrid next. Obviously, we were talking about PSG earlier on, and we're the plaudits for that wonderful performance last night. And no great surprise, they're a great team, but they really did put them to the sword. Although, Madrid architects of their own downfall and all that. But they will be smarting in Madrid today. So just how humiliating was it?
Yeah.
We'll chat to Spanish football expert and podcaster, former Wimbledon, Manchester United, Spurs and Cov frontman Terry Gibson. In a few moments' time, we're here with our good friends at Toolstation. Get thousands of products delivered with Fast Track on the Toolstation app. Next stop, Toolstation.
He plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
There's a mistake. Courtois falls him over, but it's turned in anyway. Fabian Ruiz with the opening goal for Paris Saint-Germain. What a mistake, Asensio. Oh, here's another mistake. It's Rudiger this time. Dembele's through, and Dembele scores. 2-0 to Paris Saint-Germain. 2 goals in 2 minutes, and both resulting from catastrophic Real Madrid defending.
Well, you can't make mistakes like that at any level, let alone against quality such as this.
Ruiz makes it 3-0 with a brilliant goal. Real Madrid do not know what has hit them here.
Devastating for Paris Saint-Germain.
This looks pretty ominous for Chelsea.
There's an opportunity for Gonzalo Ramos, who turns and wraps it in to make it 4-0 to Paris Saint-Germain. The European champions have breezed into the final of the Club World Cup. 4-0. Look out, Chelsea.
Yes, it was a fantastic performance by PSG. That was our commentary, of course, live on talkSPORT last night. But an absolute disaster from Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Looking at the cover of today's marker, that's the third goal going in. And I think, with my Spanish not being stunning, a very white Madrid. I take it that's a kind of surrender flag thing, and a very tough exit it seems to be hinting at as the goal goes in, with Courtois looking on helplessly. So how damaging was that on the end of a damaging day when their former coach got a year in jail, although he's unlikely to do that.
Suspended, I think.
Terry Gibson is a Spanish football expert, podcaster, and he joins us now. Hi, Terry.
Hey, Terry.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
I mean, it was a real kicking, wasn't it? I mean, really, it was a sobering.
It was like one team was taking it seriously and the other one wasn't for a bit. And then they went, we're taking it seriously. They were too far behind.
They just couldn't get anywhere near the ball most of the time, Terry, could they?
No, I mean, when you're three goals down by the 24th minute, you're in trouble. The game was delayed 10 minutes, and it looked like Real Madrid was delayed another 10 minutes. It was 2 after 9 minutes. It could have been 2 before Fabian Ruiz opened the scoring in the 6th minute. And they're shell-shocked, I have to say. No one was expecting this. I think they went into the game in high spirits. The performances had improved as the competition had gone along. Everyone's upbeat at the moment because it's a new manager and a couple of new players have joined the club. And this is a real setback, I have to be honest. They really put out everything they could to become the new club world champions. I think it was an element of them thinking, OK, Barcelona did the double last season, but if we win the Club World Cup and we're the first champions of this new tournament, they probably felt that would have superseded what Barcelona achieved last year. So hence the reason they paid the 10 million euros for Trent Alexander-Arnold. They were all out to win this competition. The way they fell apart was reminiscent of the 4 defeats against Barcelona and the defeats against Arsenal last season. It was catastrophic.
And another sign of how seriously they were taking this, Terry, was that they put off Jude Bellingham's shoulder surgery until the end of this. So, he's going to he'll miss the start of the La Liga season, maybe a bit of the early Champions League potentially. It's going to be 4 months, they're saying. So, they put all their eggs in this basket, didn't they?
Exactly, and I think it's a tough period for Xabi Alonso because he played there long enough. He knows how the pressure builds at Real Madrid. It's built after this one game. It built with the last 10 minutes against Dortmund in their last game when they had that game won and nearly lost it. So he knows exactly. He's got to settle down on a system of play. He's got to make sure he picks the right players in the right positions. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold signing and Danny Carvajal returning yesterday means that we won't see Fede Valverde have to play right back again, because you can see he hates it. He played there again yesterday. He's working the entire right side of the pitch. The attacking trio was unbalanced. The stories in the press about Vinicius being annoyed and irritated that he was brought off. Rodrigo Goes not playing any minutes at all yesterday in the semi-final. So there are some problems to solve, and Jude Bellingham being absent for 3 or 4 months is a huge problem for Xabi Alonso.
Yeah, and of course the rub salt in the wounds is an ex-Barca man who was the architect of their downfall last night.
Yeah, Dembele and Luis Enrique.
Yeah.
And Real Madrid are going to have to be patient. Whether they will be with Xabi Alonso remains to be seen. They're not normally, I have to be honest, but they're going to have to be patient. Until 6 months ago, PSG were still looking to qualify for the knockout stages of the Champions League. So PSG were patient, albeit in a different league. And the fact that PSG normally do win that league anyway. Real Madrid, if they're not at it from the beginning of the season, the pressure will be on, because there's other teams in La Liga that can beat them, that can win the title. So the pressure's on for Xabi Alonso right from the first game of the season, but he knows that anyway.
But surely he'd say that he's not had time to impose what he wants to do on the team. Yeah, I don't know how when does the season start, Terry? For 16th. All right, so he's got a bit of time, to now try and impose his system, his way, maybe bring in a couple more players. But as you say, starting on the back foot because of this competition.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I don't know how the teams at Real Madrid, for instance, are going to plan the next 4 weeks. Are there going to be more friendlies? Are the players going to get some time off?
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see how that is organised. I think Xabi Alonso's main issue at the moment is it a back four? Is it a 3-man central defence? Is it wing backs? Is it full backs? Is it who's going to be playing up front? Is it going to be a centre forward? Is there going to be a false number 9? I don't think much has come out of it that helps us to decide how Xabi Alonso is going to line up with Real Madrid in the first week of the season. I have to be honest, Tchouaméni, I don't know where he's going to play. As one of the 3 centre-backs, as the holding midfielder. Yeah. So, particularly as Bellingham is out. So, it's going to be... We haven't learned an awful lot, other than the fact that the style was slightly different in the first 2 or 3 games, a bit more possession-based. But that kind of deteriorated as the competition went on.
We were saying normally it's the Real Madrid ball players getting kicked up in the air, but there was that moment with Tchouaméni last night when he just lost his rag, when they were just doing one touch all around him and he went through the back of Hakimi. It was like your old teammate Vinnie Jones. That was a bit of a reducer. But you don't often see Real Madrid players. I mean, well, apart from Ramos and his forearm smashes.
I was going to mention Ramos, Pepe maybe.
Yeah, but just to see someone so frustrated that they're, someone's taking the mickey out of them like that.
Yeah, and Hakimi was an ex-Real Madrid player as well, so he was rubbing salt into the wound. They even got a pity whistle from the referee on the 90th minute. They weren't going into that game expecting to be saved by the referee on the 90th minute, that's for sure.
Yeah, pity whistle, I've never heard that before. Yeah. What a great phrase that is. We've had a few of those at Torquay, I tell you that.
They're quite welcome, I must admit. I've been on the end of them, and sometimes you're thinking, come on, ref, blow up.
The Carlo Ancelotti, that story yesterday, we've had these situations before when people around tax issues in Spain have been issued prison sentences. I think Messi was at one point, wasn't he, and his dad, but it never came to that, and I'm sure that'll be the case with Ancelotti. But not a great day for the club, really, was it?
No, it wasn't. And as I said, they went into this competition in high spirits, all out to win it. And the Ancelotti one has been ongoing for some time now. I think it concluded the way we all expected. I think anything less than 2 years, you don't serve a prison sentence. He would have been the smartest convict in that prison cell, wouldn't he? Yeah. You just see him walking around dressed in his club blazer and stuff, walking around running the show. It's not going to happen.
The scene in Goodfellas when they're making the really nice dinner in the prison, and he's cutting the garlic very, very thin.
Yeah, I think
with a razor blade for the sauce. Yeah, not that I'm saying that they're at all connected to the mafia.
No, of course not.
Just before anyone comes at me for that.
Yeah, and they're making it a real Brazilian affair because his lad David got the job at Botafogo. He's being chance to be around Dad and work in the same part of the world.
Yeah, and then there was talk of him getting the Rangers job. That didn't materialise. He decided when Dad left Real Madrid to try and be a boss on his own merits. That'd be interesting to see. I felt it was strange. I have to be honest. It's he hadn't had a lot of experience other than working with Dad and working with Real Madrid, but they were successful. So I wish him well on his endeavours to become a successful coach. He's never going to match what the old man did, that's for sure.
No. You and John Driscoll will be back with your Spanish football podcast at the start of the season?
Yes, we have. We did a quick one this morning for our Patreon listeners to cover the Real Madrid game. Plenty of transfer action. I think Everton have just made a big signing from Villarreal.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep on top of all the transfers that are going on. Tierno Barry, big centre forward, has joined Everton or has joined Everton. So we spoke about that, and of course all the other links that are going on between the English and Spanish clubs at the moment.
Just remind us what it's called, Terry.
It's El and John's La Liga Weekly.
Fantastic. Wherever you get your podcast. Cheers, Terry. All the best.
Terry. Thank you.
Pleasure, gents. Thank you.
Terry Gibson there reflecting on Real Madrid's hammering at the hands of PSG last night.
Can we open up to the text, Paul, when you were on the end of a pity whistle?
A pity whistle, yes.
We'll take your pity whistles.
We certainly will take your pity whistles this afternoon. We're talking Lions next, some concerns at fullback, late call-ups even. Zane Scotland joins us. It is the Scottish Open, but he's nothing to do with that. He was the youngest player ever qualified for the Open back in the day at 16. We'll chat about that. Owen Trout from the world of rugby league, of Lee Leopards. And we'll talk a bit of Sunderland in the next hour, the business they're doing in the build-up to their return to the Premier League.
So with Crystal Palace's place in the Europa League still in limbo, the man at the centre of the storm, John Textor, has given his side of the story live on talkSPORT. He and Palace owner Steve Parris have been criticised for not addressing multi-club ownership rules before UEFA's March the 1st deadline. Textor told us the exact moment when he realised Palace's place in Europe might become an issue.
Holding the cup next to the Prince. Yeah, it was a great moment. And I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't have been happier for the fans. But yeah, I was worried about what was coming.
But he's clear about one thing. He does not believe a breach has even taken place.
I'll admit to not even thinking about the issue. Of course, I have to. But I also read the rule. So please read the rule yourself. Like, everybody's talking about it like it's so obvious. The rule's very clear. If you have decisive influence, you may need to consider this. I don't. I didn't. If I had decisive influence, I wouldn't have been trying to sell the club starting in June of 2024.
No decisive influence. So in his mind, Palace should be allowed in the competition. Simon Jordan probably speaks for most football fans seeing this case unfold.
This is stupid governance from UEFA. Palace should be in the Europa League. His financial contribution enabled Palace to sail through choppy waters. And I don't think it's right, whether he's here or not, and people think I'm being sycophantic, that he catches all the crap that's going. Because I do think other people are part of the structure of that football club that creates a problem. And UEFA should be doing what they should be doing, which is allowing Palace to play in this competition.
Now, Textor did reveal he initially wanted to buy a majority stake in Crystal Palace, but settled for 43% so he could help the club in the transfer window. So we asked him what he makes of the main man at the club, Steve Parish.
No, I think his ambition every year is to avoid relegation. Our ambition is to climb the table. Who thought we could go from bankruptcy to winning South America in 2.5 years down there? I mean, that was crazy.
We're expected to find out by the end of the week whether Palace will be allowed to compete in the Europa League. Elsewhere, Owen Farrell's been named on the bench for the Lions' final warm-up game against Australia and New Zealand combined 15 on Saturday. Remember, you can listen to that one live and exclusively on talkSPORT.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee and Charlie Baker here on talkSPORT. Frankie Francis, Sunderland commentator, from Frankie and the Heartstrings, musician, frontman, joins us for a Sunderland chat. Could Jordan Henderson rock up there? He wants to play decent standard and get in the England World Cup squad. Yeah. So Sunderland going back there, that would be very emotional. They're doing
made a few signings, haven't they?
They have.
Yeah.
So Frankie will tell us a bit about that. Owen Trout of Lee Leopards, they're in good nick at the moment. Big win against Wigan last week. And we'll be chatting to him. He's just been involved in the England setup as well. Zane Scotland on the Open and indeed Scottish Open, which is underway today. And later on, Kevin Day, a comedian and one half of the Price's Football podcast, will react to some of the comments that John Textor made in the interview with White and Jordan earlier on. Really interesting stuff. Some transfer news, birthday spread, all to come.
It's all there. We were asking where you fell asleep, Paul.
Yeah, where did you manage to...
Hugh Grant fell asleep at Wimbledon post-lunch. I'm not surprised, to be honest. Anyway, my partner managed to fall asleep during a Slayer set.
Wow.
During Monsters of Rock back in the 90s.
That does take some doing.
I'm still not sure how she managed this. That was from Richard. Thank you, Richard. Yeah. And also, my buddy Dom fell asleep on the couch after a very heavy night out when he was living in Sydney. The only problem was it was not his couch. Not even his house. He'd wandered into a garden, in through the patio doors, collapsed on a convenient sofa. Woken up with a cup of tea by the homeowner the next morning.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul and Finn.
One of our number here actually came in after a big night and jumped into bed. Didn't seem that fussed about the fact that none of their luggage or clothes were in the room. Just got into bed until the two people who are actually staying in that room. It was a cock-up with a key card in the hotel.
Key card went in,
But if you go in there and there's none of your stuff there, but I suppose if you blew to...
You're saying from here, was this Cheltenham by any chance,
It wasn't Cheltenham,
It wasn't Cheltenham, okay. Not bad.
I'll spare the person's blushes, but he does know his NFL. Many years ago, after a long Sunday session, I decided to walk home and take a shortcut through a graveyard, said Steve Baker, the Farnborough coach.
Oh, yes.
3 hours later, I woke up lying on someone's tombstone. I was absolutely terrified.
On a tombstone? Fella woke up on a tombstone.
Woke up on a tombstone. That sounds like an old...
Was it Christmas?
Sounds like an old country song, Steve. Anyway.
Woke up on a tombstone, yeah.
Let's turn to rugby and the Lions down under. Andy Farrell spoke to the media ahead of the final warm-up game against an Australia and New Zealand invitational side after he'd picked his squad for that game. That's on Saturday morning, live on talkSPORT. And we'll chat to Alfie Reynolds in a few moments. He had a chat with Andy and asked him about his son Owen being on the bench for the match.
It's the same as everyone else who's had to get up to speed pretty quickly. You know, everyone had to at the start, obviously, and then a few's come in since. I think the art at this stage of the tour is mentally being as switched on as you possibly can for all, not just the lads who are new to the group. because of the nature of the preparation. So there's not that much training that you can do. Again, we're at a captain's run tomorrow, and that's the preparation for this game. But all the learnings are from the video of the games, etc. And that's the nature of where we're at.
That was Andy Farrell, the Lions coach, and Ben Kay, former Lion and now commentator for the tests and the warm-up games, did mark our card yesterday and say you're going to see a vastly different squad for this game, and you will see Owen Farrell on the bench. So it was.
I mean, Andy Farrell must have been asked that question so many times in his life.
Anyway, let's have a chat with Alfie now. Good afternoon, Alfie.
Afternoon, gents from Adelaide. How are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. So as Tom was saying in his bulletin just now, there's been an emergency call-up, isn't there? Jamie Osborne, just in case. But Blair Kinghorn, they're saying it's not as bad as they first feared. But his reaction, I mean, he knows what it's like, and his reaction when he got the injury, sort of thumping the ground, didn't look good. So they're saying it's positive news, but then they're bringing in cover. I mean, it's a bit strange, isn't it? What's going on?
Well, I suppose a little strange. I suppose it's positive news because it's not a knee injury that has ruled Blair Kinghorn out of the tour. And you're right, when we saw it and he was punching the ground and he looked frustrated, particularly after what we saw happen with Elliot Daly and Thomas Williams on this tour, where they have been ruled out of it, you were really fearing for Blair Kinghorn and the Lions and their options at fullback. So I think the positive news is that it's not ruling him out of the tour. But yeah, they're still going to have to manage him. Jamie Osborne is coming in. They've said kind of as training cover. So next time I speak to someone involved with the Lions, which is going to be Simon Easterby, one of the assistant coaches tomorrow, will be, does that mean Jamie Osborne won't be in line to play in any of the matches? Is he purely there to train, or does he have a chance of maybe playing in the tour game in between the first and second tests that takes place in Melbourne? The one thing as well with Jamie Osborne, he's on the other side of the world. He's got a long trip to come here. There's some surprise that Tom Jordan, the Scotland fullback, centre, fly half, he's a bit of a utility back, could be quite valuable to the Lions, that he hasn't been called up because Scotland are really close by. They've been in New Zealand, they're on the same time zone pretty much, so that in some ways would have made more sense. But it's Jamie Osborne who's going to be hopping on a flight at the moment, probably from Portugal, and somehow getting himself over to Adelaide or Brisbane.
Are you as confident going in now, Alfie, as you were? I mean, I was very confident before it started. I thought we're going to absolutely walk this, and now I'm like, I'm not so sure now, because it seems to be quite a lot of injuries. They've not quite ticked as I thought they would in some of these warm-up games. How confident are you feeling?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think on the one hand, that's part of a Lions tour, right? Yeah. There are injuries every single tour. The Lions enter the first test pretty much every time this comes round a little bit undercooked and still quite a few question marks around them. So I think we are probably on track for the Lions to be about where we would expect them to be in terms of not being absolutely all guns blazing ready for the test series. But certainly based upon the perceptions, I think the Lions haven't been as convincing as we maybe expected them to be. Australia weren't great either, by the way, in the match that they played against Fiji. They did win, but they kind of laboured to that victory. So, yeah, I think at the moment we are primed for quite a competitive test series, which I think we need as well. Look, it's been awesome being over here for the last few weeks for talkSPORT, being at all the games, but they haven't been great games. They haven't been that close. The quality of rugby hasn't been absolutely top-notch so far. So I'm hoping that the test series does deliver a really competitive, really compelling series, because I think that's actually what we need.
Pollock's back for this invitational game at the weekend. I mean, has he got a fighting chance of a test spot? What, more likely as a replacement than as a starter?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as you say, most likely as a replacement. The way I view the back row at the moment, which, by the way, is one of the most fascinating areas of this Lions team, is I think Andy Farrell is going to be tempted to go for a big body kind of Ollie Chesham or Tyg Byrne on the blind side, guys that can play second row, but you might play in the back row. I think he'll go Jack Conan at number 8 because he is the only out-and-out number 8 in the team. And then it's who does he pick at 7? And you've got Josh van der Fleer, Jack Morgan, Ben Earl, Henry Pollock, Tom Curry, like all world-class operators. I think there's a good chance. I think you're right, Paul. I think Henry Pollock, I think he will be involved. I think it will be on the bench. I think he will be a guy who can cover all the positions in the back row, that will be brought off the bench in the second half with bundles of energy, having the ability to change the game and make something happen. And what an unbelievable story, by the way. We've spoken about it all year, but playing in the England under-20s at one point during the Six Nations, made his senior England debut in that final Six Nations game in Cardiff where they absolutely hammered Wales. Brilliant season with Northampton, now on a Lions tour, and he could be in the matchday 23 for the Test series. It's been a wild, wild 12 months.
What of Marcus Smith, you think, around the Test side? He did pretty well the other day when he had to come on for Blair Kinghorn. I mean, do you think he's got a fighting chance?
Got that spark, isn't he? Something different.
Yeah, do you know, he does, Charlie, but I really feel for Marcus Smith because he's had a strange year in that he was played at fullback by England, which is out of position. He's a fly half. But because he was played out of position at fullback, it did get him on this tour, because when he announced his squad, Andy Farrell made that point that Marcus Smith wasn't necessarily coming as a fly half here, but someone that can play both 10 and fullback. The issue, I think, with Marcus Smith is, and the reason I feel sorry for him is, on the one hand, he can do things with the ball in hand that no other player in this squad can do. But I think at fullback, he gets exposed, in particular under the high ball. And you could see it against the Brumbies when he came on for Blair Kinghorn in the first half. I think they targeted him in the air. And I'm just not sure, despite all his talents, that you want Marcus Smith starting a Test series at fullback. That's not to say that he can't be involved, because he does cover two positions. So it's possible we see him on the bench. But I just feel he must be so frustrated thinking, give me a proper shot at fly half here. That's my position, and it's just not really coming his way.
Alfie, we'll let you get to bed. Thanks very much for joining us.
Cheers, lads. Pleasure as always.
Put that room service outside your door. I can see it just behind you.
Yeah, that's right.
Put it outside your door, mate.
To finish that sandwich off. There we are. That's Alfie Reynolds there, live from his hotel room in Adelaide. And we'll bring you that game live, of course, on Saturday morning. All the build-up from 10.
Very nice.
And kick-off at 11 for that game between the Lions and the Australia-New Zealand Invitational 15 in Adelaide, the final warm-up game before the first test the following week. We're having a slight issue getting through to Sam Ellard at Lords at the moment. I can tell you it's been pretty slow progress for the last 35 minutes. England have put on 8 runs in that time.
Yeah.
They're digging in a bit. Well, Pope and Root are trying to dig in a bit. So
91 for 2, Paul.
Yeah, 91 for 2 currently. Root on 25 and Pope on 18. We can head back to Wimbledon, though.
Oh, great.
Where Sabalenka was sort of stepped in and helped out in a little medical emergency on court just now, Lisa, we saw.
Yes, temperatures are right up there again. We're not quite over 30 degrees, but it is very, very hot on centre court. And another spectator, a slightly elderly lady, I think, taken unwell. And Sabalenka went into the cool box and brought one of her water bottles out and passed it up through the crowd. And I have to say, these Evian water bottles that the players have are something of a coveted commodity.
You're not saying the old lady was putting it on, are you? So she could get a water bottle.
I don't know. I was just making sure that she actually got it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see.
But
and then she asked for a towel.
Yeah. Can I have some wristbands while you're there? Of course not.
What else have you got in the bag? Well, they are checked here this year, by the way. Absolutely obscene. People kind of wrapping around number 1 court trying to get into the shop. Anyway, I'll tell you about the tennis. It's 4 games all in the first set. It's pretty good stuff we're seeing so far. Anisimova has beaten Sabalenka 5 times in the 8 meetings they've had, but Sabalenka did beat her at the French Open earlier this year, and it's this could go either way, I think. Really, it's just kind of bedding in is perhaps the best way to explain it. 4 games all. Don't know which way it's going at the moment.
Okay, Lisa, thanks very much. Back to Lisa a little bit later on. We're going to be talking golf next. Scottish Open's underway, and we've got the Open, of course, at Portrush next week. Zane Scotland, the professional golfer, is going to join us for a chat. He was the youngest, still the youngest qualifier ever at 16 for the Open. So we'll preview that with him very shortly. Talk a bit of rugby league, Sunderland, transfers, and all manner of other stuff to come between now and 4. We're here with Toolstation. Get fast track delivery in as little as 30 minutes on the Toolstation app. Next stop, Toolstation.
He plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Hawksbee and Charlie Baker here on talkSPORT. Well, the Open gets underway at Portrush next week. We've got day one of the Scottish Open today. Rory is out there. Started off with a bogey.
Right, yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of eyes will be on him, of course, over at Portrush next week. Joining us now, I think the man who is still the youngest ever qualifier for the Open back in the day. It is Zane Scotland. Good afternoon, Zane.
Hey, Zane.
Good afternoon, chaps. How are we?
Not
good, thank
too
you.
bad. Yeah, you were 16, weren't you, when you qualified? Has anybody come close? Do you keep an eye on the record still?
You know what? I think there's maybe been a younger player in the Open, but to go through the whole qualifying system, I'm still hanging on to that one by my my fingernails, as you can see by the grey in my beard now. It's a long time ago.
We spoke to Ian Poulter last week, and it was a weird thing for him going through qualifying. He didn't make it, nor did his lad.
No,
of course. It's
quite the thing to qualify for the Open. The level is so high. I don't think people quite understand that. With professional golf and a scratch golfer is a completely different thing, isn't it, Zane?
It really is. I mean, there's not many spots. You've got thousands of people essentially trying to end up with 20 spots, and there's 4 venues and there's 5 qualifiers from each venue, and you know what, it's you have 18 holes at the first stage, 2 rounds at the final stage, but from the very first tee shot on the first stage, everyone's there, everyone's so excited, and you really feel like you're part of the championship. And someone explained it to me really well, that when you make a bogey, even at first stage, you can just feel the claret jug slipping out of your hands. And you're miles away from it.
Maybe that's why you missed. You had it in your hands.
What sort of prep is this Scottish Open for next week, Zane?
You know what? It's more. I mean, for the guys who are playing the PGA Tour, who essentially are going to be the favourites, because that's where the best golfers play. It's really it's a matter of getting some cobwebs out and acclimatising in terms of and getting on the time zone. From a golf course point of view, where they're playing the Scottish Open, Renaissance, really nice golf course, but it's like an American-style links, like a new links. It's not like the old school that we're going to see. So from a golfing point of view, there's not too much comparison. It's a confidence booster because it's a really low-scoring golf course.
Yeah.
But in terms of prep for your golf, it's probably not the best venue, but you're here a week before, you're having a look around, seeing who's playing well, seeing how, looking down the range, seeing how Scotty Scheffler's getting on. Is Rory going to start playing well again? He's not really been quite on his game since he got the Grand Slam at the Masters. It's a. If I'm really, I don't think it's great prep from a golfing point of view, but it just gets them here on the time zone.
The Rory story is obviously really interesting and is the only story in town. I wonder if with him there's a bit of what they call gold medal depression, or when people finally climb Everest, they can suddenly get a bit of that, which is they've achieved the thing they've set out to achieve their whole life, and they get there and it's maybe slightly empty, or they look around and they go, I don't feel how I thought I would feel. Yeah. So I wonder if there's a bit of that with Rory, Zane.
Certainly. I mean, he's one of 6 players that have won the Grand Slam now. He's etched his name. He's now officially an all-time great.
Yeah.
He's got, off the golf course, he seems to be much happier. He's got plenty of pounds in the bank account. he'll be trying just as hard.
Yeah.
But like it or not, that little bit of fire is not going to be there for a little while, and he's got to get his head around what's going to make him tick now, because he's got a lot of comforts going on in his life right now, and we kind of know in sport a lot of the best stuff comes from a lot of discomfort. So I think he will work it out, but what that's going to be, I'm not too sure. Now, next week, Royal Port Rush.
Port Rush, yeah,
Last
he's going to
time,
get up for that.
he missed the cut. A course that he knows really well, hit the ball out of bounds in the first hole of the first round last year. Maybe that is another, notch on the belt. But it seems to be, to get him excited, it's got to be something really, really special.
Yeah. So you start to look around for who could win it, if not him, and it's the usual suspects, obviously Scheffler and DeChambeau and stuff. Victor Hovland, I've heard a lot of people tipping up, Zane.
Yeah, I mean, Victor it's really odd. He had played some amazing golf. 2 years ago around the Ryder Cup, he was the best player in the world on form, and then quite openly said he's lost his game. Tried 3 or 4 different swings, which is mad, but actually is in line with every other golfer out there in the world who tries something different every 2-3 days. But somehow he scraped it back and he clicked back into form. And you know what, with Victor, when he gets going, he's a fantastic ball striker, and he loves the majors. And he's the other side, isn't he? He's the guy who's is he the best player not to have won a major? No, not to have done quite enough yet. Is he underachieved a little bit? He's got something to prove. So yeah, I mean, Victor's there, but you know what? This guy, Scotty Scheffler, you cannot write him off in any event. Absolutely. He's the only person since Tiger Woods who you kind of think going into the tournament, it's more than likely going to win this. And I don't think we've had that for a long time. Even as good as Rory is, you still think, oh yeah, really 50-50. He might blow everyone away, but he might finish down the field. But Scotty, he just seems to turn it out week in, week out.
Finally, Zane, these days you coach, you podcast, and you are the RNA's diversity ambassador. Tell us a bit about that role.
Yeah, I've got a lot going on. I mean, yeah, quite a lot. I mean, the last 5-10 years has been like a real step up in diversity around the world and in sport. And golf for a long time was very much, a middle-aged white guy sport.
Yeah.
And I think what we're finding now is it is a middle-aged white guy sport, but it's also a sport for everybody else. And it can cater for everybody. And what I've learned since playing on tour and, way back when, as you mentioned earlier, decades ago playing in the Open, it's great competing, but there's so much more that can come from the sport of golf. And we're really seeing it now. And the RNA have been, they've been really, really open to new ideas. What should we do? They're not coming in with an attitude of we know all the answers. And it's really changing. And, we've been super lucky. It's been a big boom in golf, like there probably has been in cycling since kind of the COVID kind of lockdown time. And, they've really seen that and decided, come on, let's make hay. Let's start do the right thing here. And, yeah, I think we're pretty positive about how it's been going.
Brilliant. Good to talk to you, Zane. All the best. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Zane.
Cheers, chaps. Enjoy.
Zane Scotland now, thanks to him. Our coverage of the Scottish Open is unfolding over on talkSPORT 2. Still very slow progress for England's batters. Yeah, digging in a bit. 95 for 2 they are currently, with Root on 26 and Pope on 19.
Well, it's just proper Test cricket, Paul.
Yeah, we're not used to it.
Just old-fashioned Test cricket.
Bat in first.
Staying in.
Blocking. Anyway, we'll try and pop back to Sam and get an update later on. We're going to talk about Rugby League next. Owen Trout joins us. Lee Leopards off the back of a big win last weekend. They play Adrian Durham's Hull FC, and they're pushing. They're right up there. They're fourth.
Yeah,
if the results go their way, they could
do very well.
Shift even further up the table. He's just had an England call up as well, so happy days for him. We'll talk a bit of Sunderland this hour as well. Transfers later on, and of course, can Charlie make it 4 out of 4 in the birthday spread? We'll find out in an hour's time.
So with Crystal Palace's place in the Europa League still in limbo, the man at the centre of the storm, John Textor, has given his side of the story live on talkSPORT. He and Palace owner Steve Parris have been criticised for not addressing multi-club ownership rules before UEFA's March the 1st deadline. Textor told us the exact moment when he realised Palace's place in Europe might become an issue.
Holding the cup next to the Prince. Yeah, it was a great, great moment. I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't have been happier for the fans. But yeah, I was worried about what was coming.
But he's clear about one thing. He does not believe a breach has even taken place.
I'll admit to not even thinking about the issue. Of course, I have to. But I also read the rule. So please read the rule yourself. Like, everybody's talking about it like it's so obvious. The rule's very clear. If you have decisive influence, you may need to consider this. I don't. I didn't.
No decisive influence. So in his mind, Palace should be allowed in the competition. Simon Jordan probably speaks for most football fans seeing this case unfold.
This is stupid governance from UEFA. Palace should be in the Europa League. His financial contribution enabled Palace to sail through choppy waters. And I don't think it's right, whether he's here or not, and people think I'm being sycophantic, that he catches all the crap that's going. Because I do think other people are part of the structure of that football club that creates a problem. And UEFA should be doing what they should be doing, which is allowing Palace to play in this competition.
We're expected to find out by the end of the week whether Palace will be allowed to compete in the Europa League.
Before we talk a bit of rugby league, going to head back to Wimbledon, where we have seen the first set conclude.
Yes.
In the women's singles semi-final. What happened, Lisa?
We saw Amanda Anisimova take the first set against the world number one 6-4. So Aryna Sabalenka is going to have to come from behind if she's going to make her first Wimbledon final. She's reached the semi-final twice before today, but Amanda Anisimova, who made her first semi-final, her first Grand Slam semi-final 6 years ago, is looking pretty strong in this sunshine, and there's plenty to talk about in the Royal Box. We've got Fiona Shaw in there, Stephen Fry, Ben Whishaw, all the great and the good, and they're all awake at this point. It is worth saying.
Good news, good news.
How do they get their tickets? They've been queuing since 6:30. They're queuing.
There's a very special queue for the Royal Box.
Yeah. How'd you get in there? Just got to be well connected, Lisa. Is that the way it works?
Massively well connected.
Yeah.
And they do like to have honour Olympians. So basically, a gold medal is a good bit of currency to try and get you in.
Oh yeah.
But yes, we've had lots of Olympians and Paralympians in over the last week. Actually, it hasn't just been. Now that we've got the middle Sunday for play as well, they use both the middle Saturday and the middle Sunday, and they absolutely fill it with sporting stars. And that's kind of carried on this week. I mean, yesterday there was an awful lot of money in the box, I think it's perhaps to say. And there were a lot of rowers in there as well. So, I don't know if the two are linked.
You don't want to sit behind the rowers.
She said.
No, to whalers at all.
They tend to be quite tall, don't they?
Them.
OK, Lisa, thanks very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
My pleasure.
100 up for England, 101 for 2.
Pant's gone off. I don't know if he's gone off injured or he seemed to be holding his hand. So he's playing wicket-keeper today, which feels a bit of a mistake if you want him to go out and bat.
Interesting. We'll see what's happened there. But Pope's on 21, Roots on 30. England have been trying to see off the bowling.
They're nudging, Paul. They're nudging away.
Let's very quickly check in with Sam. Sam, we've had some line issues with you, but good afternoon.
Hello, Sam.
Good afternoon, gents.
So, what have you made of England since lunch?
They've been pretty solid. This is probably the most unbounced ball I've ever seen England play cricket before. I mean, I can't remember the last time that England was scoring under 3 runs and over in a test match. This partnership for the third wicket is worth 57 runs. Ollie Pope's got 21, Joe Root's got 30. And yeah, for the first time in a long time, it's just an England team that reluctant to almost defend and just sort of really try and dig in. And yeah, you're right, Charlie. Rishabh has gone off with an issue to his left hand, trying to take a ball down the leg side, diving full stretch. He immediately wasn't happy. The game just came to a halt for about 10 minutes. So he has gone off. Dhruv Jurel has come on in place of him. And at the moment, India searching for this third wicket, but on a glorious sunny day here at Lord, winning the toss, choosing to bat first, 101 for 2.
It's time to talk Super League. And joining us now in good form, along with his team, after a big win against Wigan last weekend, Lee Lappard's very own Owen Trout. Good afternoon, Owen.
Hello, Owen.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's all pretty rosy at your place at the moment, isn't it? That was you popped up with a try at the end, I saw as well, just to sort of settle it against Wigan.
Yeah, it was a bit of a lucky try, really. The ball just seemed to bounce up. But, I was in the right place at the right time. And the boys we've been going good, enjoying it this season.
Yeah, I mean, you are right up there, aren't you, at the moment? And, we saw KR beaten the other day. It feels like it's all up for grabs at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. We've always been a team where we feel like we're going to be competing for trophies and stuff like that. We had a few losses earlier on in the season, which didn't really put us in good stead. But now, obviously, with the teams above us, picking up a few losses, it's really our chance to shine. Hopefully, we can get a few good games under his belt these few weeks, and especially the top six. They're playing each other at the minute, so it's looking good for us.
You've had a good couple of weeks because you were part of that get-together, Sean Wayne's England get-together with the Aussies coming later this year for those 3 tests. But I understand that you thought it was a wind-up at first, that it might not be Sean. Yeah. It's a very distinctive voice.
Yeah, so I found out by just getting a phone call. Obviously, it was from WhatsApp, and I didn't have his number saved or anything, so it's just a random number coming up. So I was like, oh, who's this? So just answered it. I'm like, oh, hello. And he's got a really distinctive voice, proper Wiganer, isn't he? So as soon as he started speaking, it kind of just put me on the back foot from the get-go. And I was just sat on my sofa, just flabbergasted, really. My mouth was wide open, just listening to what he was saying. It was a dream come true, really.
Was there something at the back of your mind thinking which one of the Lee boys is doing this brilliant impression of Sean Wayne?
Yeah, one of the reporters said that to me as well. And because obviously we've got a few Wiganers, there's a few that do a decent job on his accent. So.
So what was it like? I mean, it was just a little get-together. I mean, you must take that in games now. It's a great honour to get called up, even in a sort of big group like that, to know that he's thinking about you and you're in the frame for those matches. You must take that into your league games, I'm sure, the confidence. Yeah,
it was a real pat on the back, really. I feel like I've been playing well this season, and to get that call up, it was dream come true, like I said. And then obviously once you start noticing a few of the other boys who were in and around it and coming to the meetings and stuff, that's one thing to say. Like, as soon as you've started getting put into that squad, you're representing England, even when you're at club level as well. And they want you to almost be that person who, once you're playing, someone can just look at the team and be like, oh, he's definitely an England player. And so I feel like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put my best foot forward. I'm trying to go hard and then just make it where people are looking at me and thinking he deserves to be in that squad.
Yeah.
They are a bit of a wounded animal at the moment. Old K. Ivan lost that winning streak to Leeds the other day, and you're facing them this weekend. It's not going to be easy, is it? Because they're going to want to climb back on the horse pretty quickly.
No, definitely. There's a reason why they're at top of the league at the minute. They've been playing unreal this season, and they've been slowly building up. So it's not really something that's come as a surprise. They are, like you said, they're a bit battered at the minute. They've got a couple of people out, but we know it's still going to be a tough game. We need to be on his best form.
Yeah. Lee Leopards do stuff slightly differently to everybody else. I think the kits are always slightly different. The chairman's a character, I would suggest.
The chairman's suits. We met Derek a few years ago and we came up for the launch of the season up at Warrington. He popped along and saw us. I'll take it as he popped down to the dressing room now and again.
Does it have a galvanising effect having him around?
Yeah, he does come in the change rooms. He's very hands-on for someone who's like an owner, really, compared to the clubs that I've been at. But no, he puts his money where his mouth is. He is very extravagant and stuff like that, but he backs it up as well, which I feel like all the boys appreciate.
Yeah. Well, all the best at the weekend.
Yeah, good luck, Owen.
Good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thanks,
Speak to you soon.
There we are. Owen Trout there from Lee Leopards and England. We've got Super League for you tonight. We've got Adrian Durham's Hull FC versus Wakefield Trinity. That's this evening. And on Sunday, we got the women's game. We got York Valkyrie, Lee Leopards as well for you. So plenty of rugby league.
Yeah.
Throughout the season, plenty of Super League rugby league and women's rugby league on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2. So tonight, Hull FC. I'm sure Adrian will be listening in from Switzerland for that one.
Yeah,
against Wakefield. Wakefield Trinity. That's tonight, 8 o'clock.
Someone thought I was overheating in the studio. Then someone's just texting because I said pants gone off. Paul, we don't do that sort of thing at talkSPORT.
No, that's it. Yeah, we don't do the pant material.
Thank you for that.
Talksport.com, text 1889, tweet TSH and J to get in touch this afternoon. 03717 22 you're telling us where you managed to fall asleep, like the fact that Hugh Grant did that yesterday at the tennis. It's nice, lovely free ticket. They're all looking after him. He has a kip.
Yeah, John at Deb's Ironing Shop in Wakefield, the best ironing shop in Wakefield, as we know. I fell asleep at my then girlfriend's parents' house. We were supposed to be in separate rooms. She told me to sneak to her room. Bit of blue for the dads this afternoon.
There we are, John.
Nice.
Wow.
Not sure how long I'd been sleeping, but I thought I'd try her room anyway. Came out, it was pitch black. I'd had a few sherbets. Opened the door, pulled what I thought was her quilt to one side. Tried pushing her over, saying, "Psst, Michelle, move up," only for the light to come on, and both her parents were staring at me.
Oh,
John!
It's the stuff of a carry-on film, isn't it?
Deb's Ironing Shop.
Carry-on ironing with John.
Carry on ironing.
We're talking Sunderland next. I thought we would sort of take stock of where they're at. Simon Adingra, they've signed from Brighton. Jordan Henderson's contract at Ajax officially over. So could he be coming back?
Yeah, you never know.
So let's get a sort of a take on where Sunderland fans think they're at. Frankie Francis commentates for the club. He's a musician, of course, as well. And we'll get his take on where they're at this stage as they head back into the Premier League. In a few moments' time, we're here with Toolstation. Download the Toolstation app for fast-track delivery on thousands of products. Next stop, Toolstation.
He plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
After 8 years away, Sunderland are Premier League again. Their players, substitutes, squad members and staff spill onto the pitch. Regis Labrie embraces his assistants, goes onto the turf, waves at his family and then commiserates with the Sheffield United players. But this is Sunderland's day and it's going to be a hell of a summer on Wearside. Sunderland have won the playoff final. They've beaten Sheffield United and they are promoted to the Premier League.
Yes, there we are. Memories of the playoff, and it's that difficult balancing act, isn't it, of kind of rewarding the players that got you up and bringing in the quality that keeps you up in the Premier League.
Not many have succeeded at that recently.
It's difficult. It's a really difficult thing to do, to get in the Premier League and indeed to stay there, as we've seen increasingly. Joining us now to talk a bit of Sunderland and where they're at this stage of the window. Not that long now till we get back underway. Frankie Francis from Frankie and the Heartstrings, and also a commentator for Sunderland's official channel as well. Hi, Frankie.
Hey, Frankie.
Hi, guys. How's Paul? Hi, Charlie. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're good. I mean, you have been doing some business. What have you made of it? Simon Adingra's the latest today from Brighton. How are you feeling about what's going on?
It's uncharted territory, really, as a Sunderland fan. You know, we broke the record 6 times already this summer. You know, previous to this, we've had our years in the wilderness, if you like, so we've never really spent above a couple of £1 million. But yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. It's incredibly exciting. I can't say I know too much about the players we're bringing in, but, you know, if you go on the price tags alone, they show a lot of potential and obviously come from good pedigree, and they're all good ages of players as well, and they've all achieved things in their leagues themselves. So yeah, it's a really exciting time. But it's interesting what you say there, Paul. Do you kind of reward the players who have been on the journey with you? And of course, how do you keep this academy line going as well when you need to survive essentially in the Premier League?
I suppose you bring in the right kind of characters, and there's a bit of money ball around it. I was reading about Talby, the player that you brought in from Club Brugge. He's very rapid. His numbers are good. His metrics are good. There'll be an awful lot.
But that's how they've done it, isn't it? That's how they're trying to do it.
An awful lot of that. Looking for value, looking for players that can perform above their value all the time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a kind of model that we have now at the football club where we invest in players and then ultimately maybe there's a sell on at another, you know, increased value again, because we are trying to buy these younger players. Ronaldo is the oldest one we brought in at 31, because of course you need that experience as well in the Premier League, some experienced players. But yeah, I think in the last couple of years, obviously we've had players like Job and Jack Clark come through, and you know Ross Stewart, you know, and we sell them on for money. This is obviously the model now which the football club employ, and who knows, you know, these people we're signing now might go on to play for a top 4 club or something like that, you know.
The intriguing story today is Jordan Henderson, who's now a free agent. He wants to play in the World Cup. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel has been saying nice things about him. And
Kyle Walker's gone back to Burnley. I don't know if in a similar situation, but this might happen as well, I suppose.
Maybe. I mean, what do you make of that? I mean, you know, the England manager rates him and thinks he does an important job. He'd be a great experienced player, as you said, with a lot of young players in your team. Do you welcome him back?
I would, because I'm a football romantic, and I think Jordan still has a lot to give the game and his home city as well. So I think it would make a lot of sense. I think we compare ourselves in terms of our football model to the likes of the Brentfords and the Brightons. And if you look at James Milner signing an extension of Brighton as well, it kind of fits in with that mould as well. Someone experienced, obviously still in the England setup as well. And I just think of the likes of someone like Dan Neil, how much he could learn from, someone he probably had on his bedroom wall when he was growing up.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what he does because, keeping it in front of the manager, playing in the Premier League is one good way to do it. And that's the sort of role that Tuchel sees from him in the England setup, as in that experienced head.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he could go off. He might be able to earn a bit more money abroad. But he's done a bit of that recently. So it could all make sense for him. So I suppose we have not, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about it, Frankie, but there's been no actual real links, is there?
No, there hasn't. But, when he became a free agent now, I think the links will increase now. And I think a lot of people in the city would love to see it happen. He only played, as a young man for Sunderland, really, when he broke through. So, I still think he's got unfinished business at Sunderland to a certain extent. And even if we got like 20 games out of him or something like that, or maybe he did his badges with the club or something like that, you could see him getting into managerial or coaching in the future, couldn't he? He's that kind of character.
He was a winger, wasn't he, at Sunderland when he played at Sunderland? I think when he started out.
Was he on the wing? Was he
getting that wrong, Frankie?
He used to pop up.
No, he was kind of like a midfield utility player. He could play anywhere. I just remember when he did go to Liverpool, I remember it was Alex Ferguson famously said he'll never go on to do anything in the game or something like that, didn't he? And then obviously he's done everything.
Yeah,
so,
he used to pop up with a fair few goals, didn't he? Box to box. He used to get some decent goals along the way. I'm looking at the pre-season friendlies. Interesting, eclectic.
Let me guess.
Gateshead, South Shields.
Didn't dare that one. 2 in a day.
Yeah.
2 in a day, is it? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, Gateshead and South Shields.
A Sunderland 11.
A Sunderland 11. And then
you can do the tour on the Tyne and Wear Metro. You can do them both in a day on the Tyne and Wear Metro.
Don't tell Adrian Durham that. He'll be doing that.
Yeah, it's a chance too. And then Sevilla. And then Sporting. So the ante being slightly up. Then off to Hearts. And we're not that far off of the season getting underway. It's going to be interesting.
Last time I spoke to you, Frankie, you had your commentary from the semi-final. That was pretty exciting. Will you be commentating this season at all?
I don't think so because of the old Premier League rights. You got stations like talkSPORT take up the
we're horrible, notoriously horrible.
Yeah,
ring fence our stuff.
Yeah. I'll be involved in a match there, though.
Yeah, and you still working in the band as well?
Yeah, very much so. I'm really focused on a project called Sunderland Music City at the moment. We've just got Sunderland Music City status, so we're working with all bands and all different kinds of artists, DJs from around Sunderland who are blowing up around the world. We're trying to get that going at the moment, and we have Pop Rex still, which the band set up 11 years ago now, which is still going strong in this city. We're still heavily involved, but maybe not singing as much as I'd like, more screaming on microphones during commentary.
Nice one. Yeah. Cheers, Frankie. I'm sure we'll catch up with you. All the best.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Charlie.
I'm sure we'll catch up with Frankie during the season there, Frankie Francis. We're going to bring listeners over 500 live commentaries, Charlie, next season.
And we've only got one commentator. They're going to be knackered. They're going to be absolutely... Nigel Adley's going to be exhausted.
I think we got more than one.
Oh, okay.
500 commentaries next season, including Premier League, EFL, Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and the 2026 World Cup. That's
lovely.
all to
next
come.
Summer. Yeah, lovely.
And last night you were able to watch 2 games, so it's not like we've had a break, is it? No. Really? And we'll bring you the Club World Cup final between Chelsea, PSG at the weekend, and of course more games from Euro 2025, including the Lionesses and Wales in action again on Sunday. Still to come this afternoon, Kevin Day joins us, comedian, one half of the Price's Football podcast, maybe getting a little bit nervous about what's going on around UEFA and qualification for the Europa League. The man at the centre of it all, John Textor, spent an hour or so in the company of Jim White and Simon Jordan earlier on. We'll play you some of that conversation, which was directed at the Palace fans and what went on. And we'll get the thoughts of Kevin Day in a few moments. We'll talk transfers and we'll bring you a birthday spread.
So with Crystal Palace's place in the Europa League still in limbo, the man at the centre of the storm, John Textor, has given his side of the story live on talkSPORT. He and Palace owner Steve Parris have been criticised for not addressing multi-club ownership rules before UEFA's March the 1st deadline. Textor told us the exact moment when he realised Palace's place in Europe might become an issue.
Holding the cup next to the Prince. Yeah, it was a great moment. And I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't have been happier for the fans. But yeah, I was worried about what was coming.
But he's clear about one thing. He does not believe a breach has even taken place.
I'll admit to not even thinking about the issue. Of course, I have to. But I also read the rule. So please read the rule yourself. Like, everybody's talking about it like it's so obvious. The rule's very clear. If you have decisive influence, you may need to consider this. I don't. I didn't. If I had decisive influence, I wouldn't have been trying to sell the club starting in June of 2024.
No decisive influence. So in his mind, Palace should be allowed in the competition. Simon Jordan probably speaks for most football fans seeing this case unfold.
This is stupid governance from UEFA. Palace should be in the Europa League. His financial contribution enabled Palace to sail through choppy waters. And I don't think it's right, whether he's here or not, and people think I'm being sycophantic, that he catches all the crap that's going. Because I do think other people are part of the structure of that football club that creates a problem. And UEFA should be doing what they should be doing, which is allowing Palace to play in this competition.
Now, Textor did reveal he initially wanted to buy a majority stake in Crystal Palace, but settled for 43% so he could help the club in the transfer window. So we asked him what he makes of the main man at the club, Steve Parris.
No, I think his ambition every year is to avoid relegation. Our ambition is to climb the table. Who thought we could go from bankruptcy to winning South America in 2.5 years down there? I mean, that was crazy.
We're expected to find out by the end of the week whether Palace will be allowed to compete in the Europa League. Elsewhere, Owen Farrell's been named on the bench for the Lions' final warm-up game against Australia and New Zealand combined 15 on Saturday. Remember, you can listen to that one live and exclusively on talkSPORT.
Afternoon, it is Paul Hawksbee and Charlie Baker here on talkSPORT. We'll have a birthday spread for you. Charlie going for 4 in a row.
Yeah, easy.
Today. Will Pugh from the Sun pops in and we'll look at some of the transfer stories of the day. But before that, we're going to talk Crystal Palace and the news yesterday about Leon complicates things from Palace's point of view around European qualification. John Textor, the man front and centre of everything that's going on around multi-club ownership, joined Jim White and Simon Jordan in the studio this morning. A fascinating chat. He talked about the joy of lifting the FA Cup with the team, but admitted in the aftermath of that he was concerned about what was to come in terms of European qualification.
But more recently, when the Crystal Palace captain lifted the FA Cup above his head and you're applauding, was a part of you thought, oh God.
Oh, is what I thought. Am I allowed to say that?
Who said it?
God. Yeah, no, I didn't. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was so happy, but I felt the gravity to it, and I was concerned, of course.
On the same day?
Holding the cup next to the Prince. Yeah, it was a great moment, and I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't have been happier for the fans. But yeah, I was worried about what was coming. I'll admit to not even thinking about the issue. Of course, I have to. But I also read the rule. So please read the rule yourself. Like, everybody's talking about it like it's so obvious. The rule's very clear. If you have decisive influence, you may need to consider this. I don't. I didn't. If I had decisive influence, I wouldn't have been trying to sell the club starting in June of 2024.
There we are. It was John Textor with Jim White and Simon Jordan earlier on today. Let's get the reaction of comedian, writer, Palace fan.
Yeah.
One half of the price is football podcast. It is Kevin Day, of course. Good afternoon, Kevin.
Kevin?
Hello there. Always lovely to be part of your baguette.
Yeah.
Always nice to be the filling between you two. Is always a pleasure.
Definitely the
Well,
meat.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard or read what John Textor had to say today. I mean, that little snippet there. What do you make of his comments?
Simon Jordan and John Textor, I made a tactical decision not to listen because I was worried about any damage that may occur when I threw the radio across the kitchen. I didn't want to hit the cat by mistake. I had a running commentary. I was working this morning, but I was given a running commentary by 3 or 4 Palace WhatsApp groups. Very imaginative use of language, I have to say, amongst them all there. And I'm very pleased to hear that the Prince would have been delighted to hand the cup over to John Textor.
Yeah.
I'm sure with everything that's going on in Prince William's life, that was a little break from reality. There's a little American bloke here who doesn't seem to know what he's doing. I'll give him this FA Cup. Let's hope he doesn't drop it or sell it. So, yeah, I did. The problem with John Textor, I have listened to it. John Textor, by all accounts, is a very affable, very genial man. I think I've mentioned this before. He made a staggeringly generous donation to a charity I was involved with. But there were 2 problems with John Textor. First of all, he's a very wealthy man. He's got enough money to run 2 football clubs. The trouble is he has 3 football clubs. So there's a lot of plate spinning going on. Charlie will know this as a freelancer. There comes those times when you go, I haven't got enough to pay the VAT. I'll nick a bit out of the tax money, and then hopefully by the time the tax money comes in, I'll have more in the VAT. And basically that's what's happening to John Textor on a huge level. He's trying to keep all 3 of his clubs going properly. His second problem is that he's an affable, genial bloke. And at times, he behaves like that bloke in a pub who tells you he's in the SAS. Clearly he wasn't. So his comments, his unguarded comments about it was me that gave Ollie Glasner the job, his unguarded comments when he was offering Bruno Lage any job he wanted at any of his clubs, UEFA have listened to those things because they clearly imply that he did have some control over the club, even though all of us who know the constitution of the club know that he didn't. There's never been any doubt whatsoever. And I don't know how many times we have to say this, and clearly John Textor's getting exasperated as well. He had the majority share, he did not have the controlling share. And the Palace constitution was quite clear that the 4 major shareholders had 1 vote each. That's never been in doubt. The last time I spoke to you, I was incredibly confident about our place in the Europa League. I'm less bullish now, but only because of the amount of time that it's taken. The Lyon relegation thing, again, is a little bit of a red herring. UEFA have never said that our place in the Europa League is conditional on Lyon taking their place. They've never said it's either or. I still think, I agree with John Textor, I still think that both clubs will be in the Europa League, if only because it would be grotesque if UEFA were to fine Lyon 36 million euros on Monday for being in breach of UEFA's financial regulations, and then on Friday were to give them a place in the Europa League and deny a place to Crystal Palace, a team they've publicly praised for their financial prudence. That would be a ridiculous PR area. It'd be, and I still can't see it happening. And also, this notion that we're somehow relegated to the conference. If the prize for winning the FA Cup was a place in the Europa Conference League, I would have been over the moon. All Palace fans would have been over the moon. Now it's become a sort of symbol. It's become a matter of honour that we should be allowed into the Europa League, because if UEFA have painted themselves into this corner, as some people are suggesting, that the rules were the rules on March the 1st and they have to abide by the rules on March the 1st, and because of the administrative oversight that we didn't, Textor didn't sell his shares because he generally didn't think he needed to, then if we're looking at the rules on March the 1st, Lyon were in flagrant breach of several UEFA financial regulations. So if you want to go back in time, that still doesn't deny us a place. And to deny us a place because of administrative oversight would be a gross, misproportionate punishment. And if that happens, we will immediately appeal to CAS, I imagine. So I still think we will be in the Europa League.
I do.
Having said that, there are terrible things going on in the world. If we happen to be in the conference, I'm fine. I'll live with that. We'd be more likely to win the conference. We'll get to see more exotic countries than we do in the Europa League. We'll get to see places that are almost too small. I might get back to Liechtenstein again. Who knows? So,
Kevin, you're making the point. It's true. Why is it taking so long? Has anybody explained why this decision is just going on and on?
The only thing I can imagine, Paul, is that we said before, UEFA have always tried to take the path of least resistance. My guess is that they were waiting for the outcome of Lyon's appeal yesterday, and my guess is that UEFA would have been praying that Lyon weren't allowed back into Liga, and that's my guess, because that would have been their get-out card. Yeah. They wouldn't have had a decision to make then. That would have been quite simple. Lyon are out, Palace are in. Congratulations. So that's the only reason I can imagine, because all the presentations, all the evidence was given years ago. I mean, the Drogada case was decided 3 or 4 weeks ago. There was another club, Slovakian club, kicked out 3 or 4 weeks ago. Why it's taken this long, I really don't know. But it is starting to take the edge off what should have been the best summer ever for Palace fans. There's no two ways. And yeah, there will be a lot of other fans getting the world's smallest violin out, but this should have been the summer that we were all looking for. We all gathered around the Atlas in the pub going, I'd love to get them, I'd love to get them. Yeah. And it's taken the edge off that a little bit. The knowledge that whatever happens, we'll be in Europe is a fantastic achievement for us anyway. But UEFA haven't covered themselves in glory here, and I'm going to be really interested in the wording of their statement tomorrow. But the trouble is, it's not over tomorrow because it will go to CAS.
Sure.
Yeah, and CAS will take at least a week. So we'll have played 2 pre-season friendlies by the time we know where we're playing in Europe.
That's what it feels. It feels like they're leaving themselves open to so much litigation. And if it doesn't,
I don't know if it has an effect on the transfer market. It probably has an effect on players looking to come in, saying, "Well, are you going to be in Europe or not?" About those players, because that could be staying, could be going.
I don't think we're looking to attract the sort of players who demand European football. To be perfectly honest. I don't know whether it will keep Eze at the club, whether the fact that we're in the Europa League rather than the conference. I mean, again, God love Arsenal fans who, once Arsenal fans have got their eyes on a prize, they want it, don't they? He's ours. We want Eze. Well, it's Christmas Day. We asked for Eze. All this nonsense about 43 million quid for Eze plus 2 teenage centre-backs. His release clause is 68 million quid for a start-off. So that's for another pod. But I don't know how much it affects our pre-season training, to be honest, boys. And I don't really think that there will be players going, well, yeah, Palace look like a good prospect. They're offering good wages. They've got a good manager, but they're only in the conference. We're not operating at that end of the swimming pool, to be perfectly honest. But it must be frustrating for Glasner, because already Glasner said at the end of last season, I don't want the same mistake to happen as happened at the start of last season when we get 4 players coming on deadline day.
Sure.
So clearly that's already put that back, so he can't be happy. No. And then anything that makes St. Ollie, I mean, the best thing to come out of Austria since Mozart and Captain Von Trapp, we have to keep him happy. Yeah. Apologies to Austria, that they were the first 2 things I could think of off the top of my head.
I was trying to think where you were going, and I thought it was quite safe.
There's other people who come out of Austria, not so much. Kevin, we're going to leave it there. We'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers,
let's hope this has a positive outcome, because it does seem very unfair.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will do, to be honest. And then you can get me back on next week moaning about Arsenal stealing Eze from us.
Cheers, Kev. Thanks very much.
Bye now. Take care.
Kevin Day there, a comedian, writer, Palace fan, and one half of the Price's Football podcast with the excellent Kieran Maguire.
That's fantastic.
And
I'm
sure they'll be talking about that. Will Pugh's going to pop in and see us very shortly from The Sun. He's from their Transfer Exposed YouTube show, and he's got all the latest transfer rumours for us, and that's coming up shortly.
He plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Women's single semi-final, Sabalenka, Anisimova. Let's find out what's going on. Lisa O'Sullivan.
I think we're heading towards the third set because this second one has been an absolute corker. Amanda Anisimova has just saved a handful of set points under intense pressure from Aryna Sabalenka to hold and force the top seed to serve for this second set. Anisimova taking the first 6-4 is 4-5 down, but Sabalenka serving at 30 all in this game. Some eye-popping shot-making on both sides of the net. The sun is out and it's a good day to be watching tennis on centre court at Wimbledon.
Thanks very much, Lisa. England currently 126 for 2. Pope and Root are still there. It's been slow progress, but they're just digging in the test styling, very unbasball-like, but they're both still there.
I've got tickets for Sunday, so just get to day 4, please.
Yeah. Anyway, joining us now in the studio is Will Pugh, host of Sun Sports Transfer Expo's YouTube show. Good afternoon, Will.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Very good.
So Mohamed Kudus looks like he's going to be confirmed sometime today, potentially. Ghanaian is leaving West Ham to go to Spurs. That's not a journey a lot of players make. Scott Parker was the last. That tells you how long ago it was. You are a West Ham fan, and we spoke about it the other week.
Yep.
That was before it was Tottenham he was going to. You're not that upset about it?
Absolutely not. No, I think I offered last week to drive him down there. If West Ham could get 50 million. I haven't had the call yet.
No.
But 55 million, the agreed deal, the payment over 3 years rather than 4, which was Tottenham's initial proposal, along with a couple of clauses, which included add-ons if they won the Premier League and Champions League. Laughed out of town by West Ham, but they finally come to an agreement. Spoke to Jack Rosser, our West Ham correspondent, this morning. The sense out of the West Ham hierarchy, and I can't say I disagree with them, is that they've done a very good deal here. 45 million was the original deal to bring Kudus from Ajax a couple of years ago. I think they'll end up paying about 38 of that because of the amount that was in add-ons. So to turn a near almost 20 million profit for a man who last season scored just 5 goals and got 4 assists in 35 games.
What happened last year? Because he's clearly better than that. Was this a guy checking out? Was this a player in a team that wasn't playing well, getting frustrated? He wasn't playing in his right position, was he?
Yeah, you've got to remember more so, Julian Lopetegui happened to West Ham last season. And, absolute chaos, nightmare at the beginning of the season. Some quite fairly well publicised fallouts between Kudus and Lopetegui. So that he was him and lots of other players. There was a bad taste in the mouth from the start of Lopetegui's reign. Never really recovered from that. But I think that was the frustration among lots of West Ham fans, and they're really split because you'll have half of them who will say he's the second coming of Dimitri Payet, and others who will look at his numbers last season and compare him to Jared Bowen and say 10 Kuduses aren't worth one Jared Bowen. I think it was. I do worry about his temperament. The 4-1 defeat West Ham had at Tottenham in October was him in a nutshell. Scored the opener, absolutely brilliant in the first half. It all went a bit bad in the second half. Lost his head, lashed out at Van der Ven and Richarlison and Pape Mete Sarr. Got himself sent off. Obviously the first season, 18 goals and 10 assists in 48 games. Total drop off the cliff. That won't be acceptable at Tottenham and the level they're playing at, and it wasn't really at West Ham, which is why I don't think anyone particularly high up in the club are too sad to see him go.
I think Thomas Frank knows all that, and I think he knows how to get the best out of players.
We'll see. When we clearly wanted the player.
I think to be fair, and Burmo was his first choice. He also liked the look of Semenyo an awful lot at Bournemouth. So questions around whether he was even second choice, let alone first. So but again, lots of Tottenham fans would have preferred Eze. Lots of them still saying maybe we get both. But
no, I don't think Ez is going to Tottenham now. So Jordan Henderson, we were just chatting to Frankie Francis about him and the sort of romantic idea of him going back to Sunderland. He is a free agent.
Yep.
He probably will want to stay in the Premier League to keep in front of Thomas Tuchel, who's been saying lovely things about him. But I wonder what are his other options in the Premier League beyond that?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. It's sort of almost certain that he will be coming back to England, having left Ajax now. The World Cup squad is his number one priority, and it seems as if that Tuchel's happy to give him half a chance. Sunderland is the romantic choice, of course, the return to the North East. And now I would question whether, even if he's playing week in, week out for a Sunderland side, I mean, no disrespect, because they've made some brilliant signings, 5 I think so far, about 100 million quid. They're obviously here to have a go next season. You kind of it wouldn't be too far-fetched to suggest their ceiling might be the sort of lower half of the
but he will play.
He will, but is that enough, Paul, to get him into an England team for a World Cup? Is that the standard?
Managers like him, don't they? All managers like having him in the squad, like having him around, like having him with younger players.
It's kind of easier to accommodate a player like that within maybe an international setup, because he's that kind of guy that... But if it's week in, week out, and you're a club and you're looking to sign Jordan Henderson, it is free, it's all wages, and I'm sure they'll be pretty tidy. But, I mean, where are the options? You look at the sort of level of team he could come into. I mean, you sort of said Everton earlier on. I mean, he's an ex-Liverpool skipper, as Charlie pointed out. That seems very unlikely. Yeah. And is that what, I mean, Everton fans might be saying, well, we don't want him. I don't know. Where does he come in?
Well, I mean, Leeds as well is one that's been bandied about a bit. I think the other thing is the Sunderland have signed 3 centre midfielders already in this window. Habib Diarra, Enzo Lefebvre and Noah Siddiqui have already come in.
Right.
So it's not, they've already got a wealth of players in those positions. I think it's going to be teams in that lower half of the table. If you wanted to move to London, you could see maybe a Crystal Palace that he'd have half a chance at a team like that, or maybe
the
Leeds.
Championship isn't going to get him in the England team, is it? I'm thinking Birmingham or something like that, who are spending out on players. They're not.
No, he's got to be playing. He's got to be
playing week in, week out, and at the highest level.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. We mentioned Brian Adingra earlier on. So he's off from Brighton, isn't he? He's going to be heading for Sunderland. That, on the face of it, seems a good bit of business.
Yeah, 23 years of old, 23 years of age even. £20.5 million deal agreed, 18 million up front, 2.5 in add-ons. Again, and just another tidy bit of business from Sunderland. I think showing their intent up front. They want to, obviously been a long time since they were in the Premier League. They want to come back and stick around for as long as they can. And I think, just a tidy move, I think, that one.
So we were talking to Kevin Day earlier on at the Palace fan about Eze. I mean, that seems to have gone very quiet. The Gyökeres thing just sort of moves along slowly from an Arsenal point of view. I mean, where are we at with those two?
Well, I was listening to the breakfast show this morning, and lots of talk around Eze and Guéhi and whether the outcome of Palace's situation, whether they get into Europe or not, as if that holds a sway. I don't think Eze stays at Crystal Palace. I think that much is clear. I do think it's very much Palace are aware of that, and from the players' point of view, the longer it goes on, the deeper into the window, the more the pressure mounts on the bigger clubs.
And they'll get there. I mean, 68 million is his buyout.
Exactly.
The problem from the players' point of view, you want to get into a new squad, you want to assimilate, you don't want to be going the last day of the window if you can help it, do you?
I think if your agent's going, well, look, if we leave this a little bit longer and you might get 20 grand a week extra in your wages, I think you perhaps overcome that.
They won't mind.
There was some talk of Bayern Munich, wasn't there, to link back up with Elise?
Yeah. I think I think from Eze's point of view, I think he wants to stay in the Premier League. I think that moves on. He knows that he knows the league. He knows how
link up with Harry Kane. Good for England.
Yeah, I mean it would be. Yeah, I mean it wouldn't be the worst move ever, would it?
No.
But I think I think it will be England. But yeah, Arsenal, obviously the Gyökeres situation is their number one target. That still rumbles on. 69 million quid, I think, is the asking price. They're about 4.5 million apart at the moment. But again, it's one of those where Sporting are digging their heels in now. It's an £85 million release clause that he's got. They've said they're not going to stick to that, but they're only going to go down. They're only going to knock around 16 million off of that. And I think, although the latest was that Gyökeres has said, even if the Arsenal deal falls through, he's going to do what Osimhen did at Napoli and just because relations have fallen, totally collapsed, that he'll demand a loan elsewhere anyway. I think that's a bit of a negotiating ploy to Sporting to go, look, hurry up and agree this fee because I want to get this done. Rumbled on.
Just real quickly, on the surface in the last 15 minutes, some stories suggesting that Tottenham might make a play for Morgan Gibbs-White. Now, they've lost a Langer. I'd be very surprised if Forest were looking to do business for him and let him go.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, Forest was such a well-run operation last year. It was a great place to be, isn't it? And same, we're seeing with clubs like Brentford and Bournemouth, talks of Tottenham going in for Johan Visser, who they still want. These teams have to have a cap. They can't just let all of their best players go at once. I know the money's important and PSR factors are important. I can't see the Forest appetite for doing that will be huge. However, it's one of those, everyone has their price. But Tottenham, I know they've got extra games this season, a wealth of players in those positions.
Yeah, they need to shed quite a lot of players in the squad.
Who would go, in your opinion? A few people saying Brennan Johnson, which I just quite can't.
Well, I mean, obviously Kudus is coming in, effectively that's his best position, but he was a key player, and you need some depth in those positions. I think they do desperately need a number 6. They've got to buy in some key areas, but they've got a lot of players that maybe they need to offload as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Nice one. Thank you, Will.
Thanks
very
Will.
much.
Pleasure.
Will Pugh there, host of Sun Sports Transfer Exposed YouTube show. Will be back to see us next week. I'm sure it'll all be still rocking along, and Yorkerez will still be arguing with Sporting, probably, till he's got a long white beard.
Yeah. Root's got 50, Paul.
Yeah,
51.
Well,
brilliant.
We'll bring you the news headlines, and just for the spread, we'll head back to Lords and get an update from Sam Ellard. But the birthday spread is up next.
So with Crystal Palace's place in the Europa League still in limbo, the man at the centre of the storm, John Textor, has given his side of the story live on talkSPORT. He and Palace owner Steve Parris have been criticised for not addressing multi-club ownership rules before UEFA's March the 1st deadline. Textor told us the exact moment when he realised Palace's place in Europe might become an issue.
Holding the cup next to the Prince. Yeah, it was a great moment. I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't have been happier for the fans. But yeah, I was worried about what was coming.
But he's clear about one thing. He does not believe a breach has even taken place.
I'll admit to not even thinking about the issue. Of course, I have to. But I also read the rule. So please read the rule yourself. Like, everybody's talking about it like it's so obvious. The rule's very clear. If you have decisive influence, you may need to consider this. I don't. I didn't.
No decisive influence. So in his mind, Palace should be allowed in the competition. Simon Jordan probably speaks for most football fans seeing this case unfold.
This is stupid governance from UEFA. Palace should be in the Europa League. His financial contribution enabled Palace to sail through choppy waters. And I don't think it's right, whether he's here or not, and people think I'm being sycophantic, that he catches all the crap that's going. Because I do think other people are part of the structure of that football club that creates a problem. And UEFA should be doing what they should be doing, which is allowing Palace to play in this competition.
We're expected to find out by the end of the week whether Palace will be allowed to compete in the Europa League.
At Wimbledon, Charlie, you're keeping an eye on Sabalenka and Nissimova, and
they've broken each other.
It's a ding-dong-do, isn't it?
It's
Into the third set. 4-6, 6-4, 1-1.
Here we are, back on serve.
Meanwhile, we're homing in on tea at the cricket at Lords, England versus India, the third test. What's happening, Sam?
It's 148 for 2 are England. This third wicket partnership is worth 104 runs. Joe Root has just flicked one off his pads for a boundary. His 50 runs comes up from 102 balls. So India picking up no wickets in this afternoon session. It's been pretty solid from England. There's been a couple of opportunities for India. There's a rash drive from Joe Root of Nitish Kumar Reddy, which took an inside edge and came off the pads instead of the stumps. There was a good ball from Akash Deep that came back into Ollie Pope, hit him on the pads. India liked it. Big shout for LBW, but it was just going over the stumps. There was also a run-out Route calling Pope through for a single, and if Jaiswal had hit the stumps from short mid-wicket, he would have been out, but he missed. And a different session, really, guys. I mean, England bringing up the 100 inside 36 overs, their second slowest century in any innings of a test in the Bazball era. Even at the start of the afternoon session, had a period of play where England faced 28 consecutive dot balls, which is quite remarkable. So Joe Root's got 52 his name, Ollie Pope's 42 not out, and crucially he's faced a lot of balls. He's got a tendency in his career, Ollie Pope, to get out quite early on in his innings, but he averages 95 in the 34 innings that he's faced 50 plus balls in innings, where he's well and truly past that number. Root's got 59, Pope's got 35. England, with 5 minutes to go until tea, are 149 for 2.
Thank you very much, Sam. It's time for the birthday spread, a simple game in which Andy Jacobs collates 10 birthdays, people celebrating them this week, and it's the job of myself and Charlie just to try and guess how old these people are. We'll know some of them, so we've got a fighting chance. Others will basically be a punt based on, the jobs they do, etc. It's as simple as that. The one with the shortest margin of error after 10 guesses is the winner. Andy joins us now. Good afternoon, Andy.
Hello, Andy.
Yeah, good afternoon, boys. How you doing?
You enjoying the cricket, are you? Been having a little nap?
Bit of a grind, isn't it? Bit of a grind, but they needed to. They were in, it's old school, but it's good.
Somebody has to keep score, and that dubious honour goes to Philbert the Fox, Jeff Peters. But he may be celebrating today. Marty Cifuentes, you have a new manager, I understand, or it looks like it.
Well, it seems to be heading in that direction, doesn't it? So,
You sound a touch underwhelmed,
Jeff. I just
Calm
want
down.
I just want someone to come in and
make it better again.
Yeah, just kind of.
Mummy, make it better.
Yeah, make Leicester great again. You know.
Get the hat.
So Charlie, yeah, very true. And hair.
Malaga.
So Charlie has won 3 in a row.
To Malaga.
He's last won 4 in a row. That was July last year. Paul leads 14-7 this year, and 98-56 overall.
Easy, mate.
I've just dropped pen on me chinos, so that's not a good start.
Pen on me chinos, my new album.
You've got some pen on your chinos. So that's a bad start from more. We're accompanied by the music of Pele and Sergio Mendes, and here they are once again. Right, Charlie is currently in good nick, so he leads us off. Andy.
Okay, start with a nice topical one. Rugby union player, former British Lion, James Hook. Hook. And he was on a fishing trip, actually, with former Premier League media officer Phil Lines and Louise Boisson, the player accused of body odour issues by Harriet Dart.
Yes.
One had a record catch, hook, line and stinker.
It's a bit harsh, that, Andy.
Sure, she's thrilled you brought that back up.
Let it go. James Hook.
35.
I think he's a bit older than that, isn't he? Because it's been a while since he stopped playing. He must be in his 40s now. 43?
40.
Ah, okay. Wasn't that bad. Sorry, James. I made you older. Okay, so what's that done to scores, Jeff?
Paul 3, Charlie 5.
5-3, okay. Right, so I go first, and we alternate, folks. Here we go.
Former singer of Blondie, Debbie Harry.
Oh, wow.
Debbie Harry. And the last time I saw her, she was sitting in her car outside Spurs training ground saying she wasn't expecting any new transfer deals. It was typical Harry on deadline day.
She's got, I mean... With respect, she's got to be getting on now, hasn't she?
With respect.
With respect,
she's getting on.
No, she is.
Yeah. Not a natural.
Is Andy not in vision today?
Not a natural blonde.
He's not working.
He's having trouble with Zoom.
That's a shame.
Oh, he could be doing it naked. He's at that Spielplatz place, that naturist camp he goes to in Swiss Cottage. Imagine what a thought. Doing it in the buff.
With St Albans, not
St Albans. Sorry.
Swiss Cottage.
17.
That's the one you go to.
That's the one I go to. Yeah. Well, actually, it's a branch of Tesco, so I should be careful. 79.
You're about right, Paul. 76.
80.
Oh, well done.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. They've been celebrating it on socials and on TV and everything.
Jeff, not all of us are across the media like you.
Yeah. Soon found out I got a heart of glass.
So Paul is 1 out and on to 4. Charlie 4 out on to 9.
It was a blast.
So 4 versus 9. Let's let it go.
4 versus 9.
Yeah.
Right, it's the actor from the original Spider-Man film series, Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire. Yeah. His finances actually are very complex. In fact, so complex, the only person able to explain them is the Prime Minister. If you want to know how they work, you have to listen to Kieran Maguire.
Oh, wow. That's
very
tortuous.
Tortuous.
No,
a pacemaker of glass is Debbie Harry's new...
That's very hard.
Debbie Harry Maguire.
Debbie Harry Maguire.
Your 80s pop star footballers.
Come on.
You're not gonna,
let's have them.
You're not going to call her slabhead when she goes on stage, are you? So what's...
Tobey Maguire, I think, is 40.
45.
50.
Oh,
no.
Okay. Yeah, old Tobey Maguire.
Oh, my God, I'm doing terrible this week.
So what's the scores, Jeff?
Awful.
Paul 5 out onto 9. Charlie 10 out onto 19. Charlie, don't forget, last time, a couple of weeks ago, when you with 1 to go, you were 10 behind and were having a baby crying meltdown, and yet you came, you still won it.
You did win it. So look, it's early days. Birthday number. Just a reminder that at half time we see how you're getting on. So do let us know. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089. Tweet to TSH, and we'll bring you the best of those. Just
hip of glass. One of the listeners says.
Just poor old Debbie. She's trying to celebrate her birthday.
Hip of glass.
and you're doing all of that.
Terrible.
Poor woman. Anyway, Charlie, let it go.
So ageist.
So, back to me then. What's birthday number 4, Jeff?
It's Jeff. It's the actress. Jeff really likes Pamela Anderson. Last time I saw Pamela, we were standing with a paparazzi pack outside Beyonce's house trying to get a photo of her leaving the property. We were there for hours on Baywatch.
Baywatch.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Blimey, what is she now?
Pamela Anderson.
52.
Sounds like your nan's friend, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. Pamela Anderson. Pam Anderson's coming round later on.
Yeah.
Got her coming round.
I've gone too young, I think, Charlie. 50.
What have you said?
I said 52, didn't I?
Much too young. She's, I'm going to say,
wow,
61.
I've let you back in, haven't I? What's happened
58.
There? Oh,
58.
Not enough. Not enough.
No. Okay, so where are we at there, Jeff?
Paul 6 out onto 15.
Yeah.
Charlie 3 out onto 22.
Neither was playing stunning.
Very. No, little nudge. I'm a bit put off by Sabalenka in the tennis, but I'm enjoying the birthday spread.
Good. Okay, birthday number
with
5.
no toppers.
Birthday number 5.
No toppers.
Yeah,
So
that's
what? Sabalenka or you, Jeff? Which one?
Here we go.
There we go.
Hold on. Yes, it is the former marathon runner. Hold on. Rosa Mota. Rosa Mota.
Rosa Mota. Oh, yeah.
Do you remember Rosa Mota? She had a bit of trouble actually finding an agent after falling out with her last manager until talkSPORT cricket correspondent John Norman agreed to take over her affairs. I couldn't help remarking on his change of career. Hello, John. Got a new motor.
Hello, John. Got a new motor. Rosa Mota. What does she do? Former marathon runner, Rosa Mota.
Rosa Mota.
Hello, Mota.
Yeah, there we are.
Rosa. Is it me?
Yes, yeah.
I don't even know who she is.
Right,
I don't know a clue who she is.
Former marathon.
Could be anything.
Runner. Well, she's former. So
Yeah,
she's not going to be 22.
You know, people can run marathons till they're 80, 90,
cool.
if they want to.
Say
Best in age group.
Say 90 then.
No, but not professionally.
No.
Okay. Rosa Mota.
Yeah.
58.
I'll go 48.
No, 67.
Paul.
That's made it a very interesting.
Very
second
interesting.
half. So, where are we? Where are we?
Well, Charlie. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Where are we? Charlie.
I miss
takes
Jeff's
the lead.
toppers. I wish Jeff had a couple of toppers, if I'm honest.
Yeah, you say that now. So
Yeah, you spoiled one of my gags last time,
Did I?
Charlie.
Did
So
I?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
He's
Fun
put him
line.
off now.
How did I do that? He's sulking there.
Well, I
All
tell
the
you,
right
you,
notes,
what a
but not
baby.
necessarily. Yeah. So
you
Charlie
gave away
is
the
9 out.
punchline.
yeah.
Charlie is 9 out onto 31,
Yeah.
and Paul 19 out on
Wow.
that one. Moves on to 34. So Charlie's
Charlie's
leads
in the
by
lead.
3 at the halfway
3.
stage.
Let us know how you're
player.
getting on. TalkSport.com. Text 81089 to HS H and J. Second half just around the corner. We're here with Toolstation. Download the Toolstation app for fast track delivery on thousands of products. Next stop, Toolstation.
plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Interesting game unfolding in the women's singles semi-final at Wimbledon. Lisa O'Sullivan.
Yes, Amanda Anisimova is leading 3-1 in the fourth set, looking to consolidate the break of serve against Aryna Sabalenka, the world number one, who wants to be in the final so much. It's the one she hasn't made. She's made the US Open, the Australian and the French Open in consecutive appearances, and Wimbledon would just be the cherry on the top of the cake. But Amanda Anisimova, who really knows how to play against the big-hitting Belarusian, is in control at the moment. 3-1 up in the deciding set.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Back to the birthday spread. 34 I'm on. 31
some scores, Paul.
Charlie's winning. How's everybody getting on?
the Red, 18 out. Rosa Motor did it for me. Rosa Motor done me on to 35. Now it's a stupid kids game from Fraser in Glasgow. Furious, smashing it on 8 until Rosa, what's her name, ruined it by being too old. Hello, Charlie, Jerry K.
Yes.
I don't know. There we are.
There we are.
Nice.
Rosa Motor's got a lot to
done us
answer
all
for.
in.
OK, so back to the spread then. I'll lead us off. I'm 3 behind. Charlie's in the lead. And Andy, take it away.
OK, it's the fine actress and producer Margot Robbie.
Oh, yeah.
And she was playing for a football team I was coaching. And I told the girls they had to take a yellow for the team if the star player, the opposition star player, was through. Yeah. I pointed at her and said, Robbie, Fowler.
Oh, very good.
Very good.
She's good. Well, she's been around a long time, but she did start young, didn't she?
Barbie's a good film.
She did start young. 36.
I think she's a bit older than that. 39.
35.
Oh,
she's a bit younger
blimey.
than that.
Yeah, a bit younger than that, yeah. She's been neighbours, Andy, didn't she?
She did, yeah. She was great in that, yeah.
So, what's the scores, Jeff?
I haven't got a number, have you, Andy?
It's...
she invented a cross between the shrug and the bolero. It was called the Shrugalero. It's a big plot line. I don't know why.
What, in Neighbours? That was her plot line?
That was her plot line. No wonder she got out of Neighbours. So what's the scores, Jeff?
It's
35 all. 35 all. 35 all. OK, on to birthday number 7. Charlie leads us off.
I'd never clear my throat like that on it.
No,
of course not.
He did it for effect for 35 all.
35 all.
OK, it's the chef and restaurateur, fine chef, Marcus Waring. And he made me the famous Italian soup from Tuscany, ribollita, which contains small pieces of focaccia to absorb the liquid.
Yeah.
But I felt Marcus had overdone it. I said, this soup's far too bready wearing.
Wow.
Bready wearing.
It's all there. It's contrived. It's contrived and it's
but I liked it.
That hotkey that Jeff has got is Josh Widdicombe's laugh, isn't it? That sounds like a duck. Josh does sound like a duck when he laughs. OK, Bready Waring.
Bready Waring.
It's not Eddie Waring.
It's not Eddie Waring. It's the
two different stories.
What's Marcus wearing, isn't it?
Yeah, what's Marcus wearing?
Next week's quiz.
Yeah.
56.
That's a good guess. I was going to say something like that. I was going to say 55, so I'll say 55.
Oh, very good guessing by both of you. 55.
Oh, wow. So what's that done to the score?
Bearing in mind, I had no idea at all who he was.
You know who he is.
I've not a clue, and that was a very good guess.
Oh, OK, it's a good guess.
He's on TV.
What's he on? What's he? Which chef?
He does all. He owns restaurants and stuff.
Yeah, I think he did Marcus Waring's country garden or something.
Oh, did he?
That's what he called that.
Okay, what's
If
the...
not, he's pitching that at the moment.
Kitchen garden.
Kitchen garden. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What's the scores, Jeff?
Paul stays on 35 and Charlie on to 36.
Whoa, what's this?
Still very tight.
quite-
Neither of you have got away.
Birthday Birthday number 8. That was Ray French, but it doesn't matter. Good game.
No need for accuracy. Okay, it's the fine actress from Lord of the Rings, Liv Tyler. Liv Tyler.
Oh, yeah, Liv Tyler.
And I remember when her dad, Stephen, announced her birth name at her christening in the traditional family style. Tyler said, and it's Liv.
Oh, yeah. That's very good.
Very good. Mixed up a lot of things. That's very good.
Well, it's got to be in her 40s now, hasn't she? She's been around for a while. 43.
Oh, I think she's older than that.
Yeah.
48.
Ooh, 48.
Oh, well done,
Totting
Charlie.
up now.
Well done.
Very
What
nice.
a game this is.
All up for grabs
What's the
now.
scores, Jeff?
It's swinging from one way to
Well,
the
never
other.
mind that.
and-
What are the scores?
Is that why you go to Mexico?
Well, in the words of Debbie Harry, it's one way or another. So Paul is 5 out onto 40, and Charlie with a direct hit. Oh dear God, stays on 36. So Charlie leads by 4 with 2 to go.
What were the scores?
There we are. 36-40. 36.
4 in it. 4 in it.
Okay.
Here it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Birthday number 9.
Okay, yeah.
It's the actor Leonard Whiting. Leonard Whiting.
Wow.
And I was at Edinburgh, actually. I was at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival with Nigel Botherway when we stumbled across Leonard's play. I was so glad we caught a bit of Whiting.
Oh, I said
With Nigel
I mean,
Botherway.
can you tell? I mean,
On the
to
bank.
be fair, is it fair, Charlie?
Leonard,
would you,
not
would
a
you like to know
clue
what he's been
who
in?
Leonard Whiting
Can you
is.
tell us what he's been in? I
He's
recognise the name.
famously in Romeo and Juliet, the first Romeo and Juliet.
The first one? God, you must be really old.
I'm going 420. So was he the lad in the sort of Zeffirelli one in the film?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Leonard Whiting.
That, yeah, Olivia Hussey and.
Olivia Hussey, that's the
It's not all football on this show, mate.
Oh no,
It's got a bit of Zeffirelli. Although
Olivia
I
Hussey would
understand
be a very good
Sunderland are trying to sign Zeffirelli on a free from Torino.
I remember Zeffirelli in the 50s.
My old, have you got time for a quick story about Franco Zeffirelli? His Catenaccio system. Okay, go on.
No
then.
idea.
Go on.
84.
That's a pretty good guess. Maybe it was in the 60s. I'll go 77.
75.
Oh, very good.
Okay, yeah.
Olivia Hussey's a good one for you, Andy, for another year. I mean,
No, she's sad. I don't think she's sadly no longer
I heard
with us.
Two stories. Heard two stories.
Okay,
Two different stories.
I think so. Sorry. Anyway, keep going. What's the
I think
story?
he's looking back rather than looking.
Mr. Brazil meant there, of course. So, what's the scores, Jeff?
Paul 2 out on to 42.
Yeah.
Charlie 9 out with his guess on to 45. So Paul leads
3.
by 3.
This is perfect for Charlie. Only 3 in it. Oh, here we go then. Andy.
Okay.
1 minute left.
All right, it's the government whip from 2022 to 24. Jacet Ormsby Gore. Lord Harlech, Jacet Ormsby Gore.
2002, 2006, did you say?
Yeah, he's got a new career actually, directing the Saw-style horror movies, so beloved by Adrian Durham. I can't stand them, but Adrian loves a bit of Ormsby Gore.
Ormsby Gore.
I'm going to go...
Hang on. So, Charlie, Andy, what did you say his or their years were?
2022.
Oh, 2022.
Yeah, I just wanted
What
to
did I
clarify
say?
that.
You said-
I think you said 2002. Sort of Paul
I
said
beg
that,
your
yeah.
pardon.
2022
to 24.
24.
I'm just going to go for it. It's time to press him. 58. You got to be 4 either way, Charlie, didn't you?
63.
Regals, 39.
Oh, the run has come to
Well
an
done,
end.
Paul. Very good.
Along with Hull
A
KR,
good game,
the
and you
run has
deserved
come
it
to
for
an
your
end.
joke as well. You deserved it.
Thank you very
Best
much,
joke
Charlie.
wins, I always think.
Thank you, Andy. And
pleasure.
thank you, Jeff,
Thank
as
you, Andy.
always. Top
Thank
work.
you, Jeff.
I'm not here tomorrow. Ollie Klink will be alongside Andy.
Yeah, lovely.
I'll be back on Monday. Charlie, you're back next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday,
which is
yeah,
fantastic. Have a fine evening. Coming up next, plenty to get stuck into. Transfer news breaking all the time. You're in the company of Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent with Drive.